I'm so lost. Don't worry. Oh wait, you guys didn't even see me. You didn't see me make the thumbnail, so you should have told me. This is the thumbnail I made for today. Gosh darn it, you didn't see my genius. Bert told you. Well, I couldn't see the chat. Okay, I literally could not see the chat. I'll make it my thumbnail. But as a guy and his friend, it's different when someone you don't know humps on you. That's not necessarily true, right? I think it's deeper than that. Where I think, okay, you know what? I'll get to that in a second. Let's start with what actually happened. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? Well, 2 days ago, Ludwig had an event that he called Beerio Kart. Essentially, it was like a Mario Kart event, but like you drank beers when you were driving. It's like a drinking and driving event, but in Mario Kart. Um, Trying to find. I have a bunch of links saved. Let me see if I can find where's a good place to start with this. Um, Here, so I'll put it in the Discord. Let me see if I can find it. So first, huge trigger warning for like sexual harassment. Um, from what I understand, multiple instances. Your card sounds like a frat house activity because it kind of is a frat house activity. While 6% of the event on a second monitor, I must have missed the crazy stuff. Mingo doesn't start acting wild until like halfway. He got everyone to do shots. I don't want to see. Then you might want to leave and return in a little bit, chatter. Right. But essentially, it's like a Mario Kart event where like you drunk beers and things of that nature. But obviously, when alcohol gets involved, people are acting crazy, right? For lack of a better term. Even like before like sexual assault stuff, like people were inebriated, right? They were drunk. They were doing drunk people stuff. And if you've ever been around like frat boys, right? Or into a frat house, right? What you're just going to see here is not a unique thing in the way that like drunk like men operate. When I got the chance to get on my phone, I read up a little bit on this and saw he was even touching Ludwig at the beginning of the stream. If I recall correctly. I saw there was a tweet thread that kind of goes over some of the clips. I don't know where I put it. It's the epitome of friends with behavior, humping and doing inappropriate things to your friends. Trigger warning. I think a trigger warning is content warning is already it's already pinned. Yeah, we'll start with this clip. This is the clip that got the most seen.
See, we're not drunk, guys.
Yeah, we're not drunk.
But Mango, on the other hand.
No.
He's humping toes.
No.
End the stream. End it.
End the stream, Mango says.
End the stream.
And he's just laughing off horrendous behavior while being an OTK. Honestly, that's actually pretty fair. Right? And to be fair, this is also a normal way that people behave in situations where like they are put in uncomfortable positions, where like they are kind of expected to laugh it off. I think actually Slime had an interesting take on this. I do want to talk about Slime's response as well. I kind of want to talk about everybody's response to like this. Right? Someone said that he also did to Ludwig as well. Does anybody have a link to that? I think that's also an important conversation. Right, so visibly uncomfortable. That's heartbreaking, honestly. So we need to talk to him. It's not a streamer thing. This is a societal issue in college parties. Yes, but there is also another issue when it's like so heavily televised in this way, like on stream. Do you see the TikTok Ludwig posted about it? I didn't see a TikTok Ludwig posted. I saw Ludwig talking about it in a VOD. Bro, what? Here's an unseen clip making these female streamers uncomfortable. I always plays the straight man in most situations, so it's hard to tell if she's really uncomfortable or not. This is 100% way over the line. In all circumstances, this dude is way too fucked up.
What is, bro, Mango, give Mango water. Look at this motherfucker.
I gave him the beer.
Yep. Let him know, bro. Let him know.
Dude,
Can we zoom in on that?
Stan is the worst person.
No. I've seen Mango 10 times drunker than this. That's right. That is
Oh,
true.
yeah, he hasn't
That
peaked
is
yet.
very true.
This isn't Pete.
No.
This is like stage 2. Honestly, this is sober.
He's not fighting anyone.
He's trying to fight me.
No, it's different.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
He's trying to fight me.
We're in
What is?
Maybe he doesn't feel confident people are looking for. It's supposed to buy an account called Ryle Rittenhouse. Here. Is all the clips stitched together? Okay. Bro, it's 1 minute and 30 seconds long.
Wait, should kids do drugs? Okay, all right.
See, we're not drunk, guys.
Yeah, we're not drunk.
But Mango, on the other hand,
No.
he's humping toes.
No.
End the stream. End it.
Again, I haven't seen anything about this, but I'm showing this to you without really any commentary because I want to get to what the responses to this were. And because that's what I really want to talk about, right? This happening is not unique, right? And it's a shame to say so, but this is not a unique thing that's happened, right? But what I want to talk about specifically is how people reacted to this in the moment and after the fact, and why I think it's fucked up.
End the stream, Mango says.
Yeah, there is always that one guy, right? again, if you've been to college, if you've been to frat parties, this happens, right? There's always one guy that does this, and this person can only exist, right? Because of, you know what? I'll save it. Let's finish the compilation first.
You're gonna give me a full shot? That's fine.
Is it like good? Like we have something or no?
No, it's good. It's good.
Okay. What are you
What
doing?
are you doing?
Point it down. You trying to do third round or no? Man.
Mango's humping Emily.
I'm not.
That's okay. Okay, I'm ready to play.
Emily, get it. Emily, stop it.
Hi, Mango.
What are you pulling her hair?
Mango, you're so silly.
Don't beat her ass.
You guys are amazing. Who's that, Mango?
Mango, final words. Final words. Oh! Final words.
Yeah. So this was a consistent. Also, apparently somebody said that he was also like humping on Ludwig, as well. So it wasn't like exclusive to the female streamers, but like it's a pretty common thing that he was doing during this thing. But those are all the clips. So that's what happened. Right? That's what happened. Him humping a man doesn't make it any better, which I'll get to in a second. I want to give you my takes on this. There's a few things that I want to say on this, right? One, right? I heard, again, I don't know this, but I heard this was a common thing with Mango, which is getting too drunk to the point where like somebody, I think it was Stan, said it in this video here, right? And all the other guys were like, yeah, no, this is like normal Mango stuff, right? This is totally normal Mango stuff. So the fact that this behavior was something that they were aware of and they still allowed him to come to an event where you get hammered, that's the point of the event, fucked up, number one. Fucked up, number one. Number two, while being at the event, right, him humping on, essentially sexually assaulting numerous other female streamers, right, multiple times, right, multiple times, and nobody stepping in to be like, yo, cut that shit out. From what I saw, if you've watched this, right, and you saw somebody doing that, right, let me know. I will full on apologize to them, right? But like the fact that it was Ludwig's event and Ludwig didn't step in to be like, you're done, right? There are people who are serving the alcohol behind these tables. There are cameramen, right? Cameramen. There are production staff. There are people who keep the event going. The fact that none of them stepped in, right, and pulled Mango away at some point is telling. And the fact that everybody was just kind of standing around letting him do this to be like, yeah, it's just Mango stuff. Right? Fucked up, number two. And fucked up, number three is something that I saw after the event happened. Right? After the event happened. I saw shit like this from people who were at the event. I saw Connor grab him and guide him away, but seemingly to give up when he kept going. During the compilation, the levels literally pushed Mango away from Emily. I don't need Ludwig to push Mango away from Emily. Also, like, Doug did the same thing. Doug tried to guide him away, and Doug also gave up, right? Like you can tell right here. But you don't need to give up. There's no giving up here. Like sexual assault is happening in front of you. There's no, well, I did my best, you know. I said, man, don't do that. That's Doug. Pretty sure. I just said that. I said that's Doug. Right? Didn't Ludwig in an earlier clip say I've seen him drunker, or who was that? Like what? That means that they've seen him do worse. I think it was Stans. They did kick him eventually. Do you have a clip of that? I have not seen that. Like, I haven't seen anything. Everything I'm seeing is on the stream right now, right? But like the pictures that were posted after the fact were just also kind of gross, right? Like it wasn't even just this one. Let me see. I saw like 3 people post like pictures with Mango, like being like, man, what a crazy night that was. Like after the event was over. And I'm like, like, what are we doing? I think most people didn't know what was going on. No, fuck no. Fuck that. No shot. No shot. I don't, no. See, you're doing the same shit that people are doing like in real life, right? To normalize and excuse this behavior. Right? You can't say they did kick him eventually, but also most people had no idea what was going on in this tiny room where people were just all doing the same, like, you know, drinking and freaking playing Mario Kart. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. Right? Like people were like quote tweeting it and posting it like it was like normal and chill and cool. I don't know if Slime was there, but like it's still like kind of crazy that everybody was posting acting like this was like totally chill. Not a single person, right, was like, yo, what Mango was doing was fucked up. I don't agree with that. Until it started getting LSF threads and LSF posts.
Yours didn't even start.
I want to hear about this 2 days later, or is it 3? It's 2 days later, right? Because I found out about it after I went offline yesterday. There are hundreds of videos out there. These folks are talking about how Mango is a drunk menace. When you invite him to this sort of event, how these people keep finding themselves in the midst of sexual predators. I've seen experience this type of situation many times. Men never want to be the bad guy who brings the party down, so they just let it be and try to be hands off. It's so lame. Yeah, and that's what I'm criticizing. I got a better timestamp. What are you trying to show me? I don't think Slime was there, but he had a long Twitter thread about it. Yeah, which I have it saved, but I do want to get into it because I think Slime makes some interesting points, some of which that I agree with, but I think Slime, from what I've seen, had a decent statement. Around 4:19, 30 in the VOD is Ludwig Bengal's reaction or interaction.
This is the real. This is the real tone. The real tone. Yes.
Yes. Leave about it yet? Not yet.
Interesting which map to pick. I think I start off with Koopa Troopa Beach. It's a map without too many shortcuts. It's gonna really emphasize speed.
Lock in.
I'm locked, baby.
Lock in.
I'm
Baby.
locked.
Lock in.
I got you. I got you.
Lock in.
I got you, man. I win this shit. I win this shit.
You're all I have.
I got you, baby.
He showed up drunk.
Look at these picks.
Not bad, eh?
Hey.
Bit of a
Hey.
hole. Bit of a hole. All right, hold on. Give me space. Give me space. Let me chop. Let me chop. I got my elbow room.
So here's the problem. I'm like 10%. It's not going to feel in the water.
Are these judging people?
That
Ah. Okay. Finish my beer.
Where's that chatter with its timestamp? What do white people always have their shirts off? Vibes. Pure vibes. Here. Yeah, but they said they had a better timestamp. Right, I thought they were gonna send another one. Here, we can look at this timestamp.
Yours didn't even start yet. You gotta hold start. Okay, 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Hey, what are you? You're blowing the fucking point.
What's your guess?
Don't
Guys,
even look in the chat. The
you're
winners
addicted, bro.
of the Twitch and YouTube.
bro.
Guys, I'm gonna have to
Put it away.
Guys,
Say something from the heart.
Put it away.
Say something from the heart. Fuck the chat.
I got giveaway
Say
winners.
something from the heart.
I got giveaway winners to announce.
If you had to say something to all of you out there, what would you say?
Tummy check.
It was on this stream. I was wrong. I was looking for them getting rid of him. Worth noting that the people he was humping and were intoxicated with, they could not be consented with. I mean, they could not wait. They could not consent. Oh, they could not. I can't read. They could not consent to begin with.
He's gonna blow.
I can't read. I understand what you're saying, Chatter. Yeah. So yeah, well, that's the overarching event and a few of the things that happened. I do want to see Ludwig's response, right? Here, I'm grabbing it real quick.
Or excuse me, the bad of Beerio.
Let's see, is this where it starts? Yeah.
Is the bad mango? Yes. Yeah, 100%. 1000%. Yes. So if you guys don't know, there's a bunch of clips, and I'm not going to react to the clips because, I mean, frankly, they're uncomfortable to watch. But there's a bunch of clips yesterday of Mango going around humping people. And I know this because I saw them all this morning. And I think was getting humped a lot myself. Now I'm gonna say, I don't mind when Mango humps me because I know Mango. It was super weird if you watched any of the clips when he was humping people he doesn't know very well. It was very weird. And yeah, I feel like menace is like a cutesy term that we use with Mango. And it's like, nah, that's just harassment, bro. You can't be cutesy about it. And so like,
I'll give Ludwig a point here. By at least he did better than the people we saw in the clip. So I'll give him a point and at least calling it what it is, right? Again, low bar, but you know.
Look, man, if you guys ever listen to me,
Set up unacceptable. Again, we'll see what the rest of his statement is, but for the beginning, I'll say, you know, first of all, you have to acknowledge. Doesn't mind being humped. Is that what he said? Yes. See that what I don't know if you try to understand is that men give a lot of leeway to other men, especially their friends, doing things that I guess people give a lot of leeway to the people that they know specifically doing things that they will not be comfortable with a stranger, with their friend, right? Whether or not like Ludwig is actually comfortable with it or uncomfortable with it. Again, I'm not going to get into like trying to interrogate Ludwig's internal mindset about how he feels, right, about this, right? There is a take about people who are like men giving or expanding their boundaries more than what they will be comfortable with because they want to be seen as a part of the gang, the squad, fitting in, if you will. So there are situations where men are uncomfortable with things like being humped on or whatever. But they allow it and accept it because, you know, that's what it takes to fit in. Not saying that that's what happens here, but I'm saying that is a thing that does happen. Right? Yeah, it's like how a lot of peer pressure into bad situations happen. Yeah. I had a friend that behaved exactly like this. And often he would hump his male friends, take his shirt off all the time. Very weird for like a decade. Eventually, he would physically assault a girl in our friend group, and now he's gone, excommunicated. Should have done that long before that, to be honest. Enabling his behavior got someone hurt. I don't want to say that like, you know, humping on your male friends and like being like, you know, drunk in that way will always lead to situations like that. Yeah, oftentimes, especially when it comes to like wanting to be like the funny guy, right? The comedy guy in the group. When your jokes are no longer landing, you know, you kind of ham it up and you ham it up and you ham it up and you ham it up. And if nobody stops you before you realize what you're doing, it could get to a point where now you are, you know, committing crimes, which is why having somebody there to stop you before you get to that point is important. You know? Yeah, you pass the point of no return. If a guy acts like this to you, as a man, you should know that the guy has certain tendencies and it's on you for you associating with that person. Not necessarily. Right? Again, I don't want to paint a wide brush of like, oh, if a guy humps on you, then he's going to sexually assault somebody in the future. Right? Because that's not necessarily the case. Right? And if you are genuinely fine and comfortable with it, that's cool. That's dandy. Right? But understanding that, you know, everything I just talked about before, when you are positioning yourself as the funny guy, somebody's positioning themselves as the funny guy, and that's their meme and that's their jokes, you know, watch their behavior, because when you are in spaces that are not just you and your friends, if that behavior comes out, then it's not necessarily, you know what I mean? Not necessarily acceptable. I think also too, it's obvious in one clip where when Ludwig wanted him to stop touching, he was like, "Hey man, I need my space," but none of other people felt comfortable to do it. It sounded like. I mean, Maya was saying no, right? Like it's not even that like other people didn't feel comfortable stopping Mango. Like this was like Maya not consenting. Maya said no. right?
We're not drunk, guys. Yeah, we're not drunk. But Mango, on the other hand,
Right? But it's just not taken seriously. You feel me? It's just not taken seriously. And it's to the point, and it's not even that like other people didn't know what was going on, right? Like, I don't want to say I don't believe Ludwig when he said that he didn't know what was happening, because everybody knew it was happening, right? There were instances where like people, like Cutie was like, Mango's humping on extra Emily, Mango's humping on Emily. Nothing. Radio silence. People would watch them, like would watch him do it. Radio silence, nothing. Like, if you're in one room, even with 30 people, you can see everyone. There's extra space. Everyone knew after the second race that Mango became a problem. Yeah, and I think again, I'll continue with Ludwig's statement, but this is Ludwig's event, right? If we're being honest, charges should be filed. It's up to the victims of this if charges should be or should not be filed, right? Or if they want to file charges or not. But I would say that they're in the right to do so. 100%, they are within their right to do so. Also, I think the chatter is saying like from the women's perspective. I don't think the chatter is saying like from the men's perspective, like the men laughing are coping, right? I think they're saying from the perspective of the women, right? I think we all understand that what the men were doing was unacceptable, right? The people in chat here we're not enemies here. I think we all are in agreement on that. It annoys me when men say, but she was laughing, like, can you not tell when a situation is scared you want to get out of a situation? Right? Even in a world where I disagree, they might not feel like they'd be able to. MA has domestic violence laws that require an arrest officer responds. It literally saved my life. What do you mean you disagree? All I said is it's up to the women whether or not they want to like press charges on Mango. Like, that's just the truth, right? And if they want to handle it offline or whatever, interpersonally, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, you need to handle it in the way that I demand you handle it, right? That's my perspective, right? I think that if they want to file charges, they're well within the right to do so. Like if that's the route they want to go through, like they should be able to go through that route, right? And I don't think anybody should like, stop them from doing so. Yeah, let's continue.
After an event, I'm pretty consistent. I always say my main goal at any event is that the people who are participating have a good time.
I don't think what Mango was doing was bad enough to warrant a huge blow up, but stepping up should have happened sooner. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes so you can shut the fuck up and listen to exactly what I said. It doesn't matter what you think, chatter. It does not matter what you think, right? What he did was at bare minimum sexual harassment. Bare minimum. Did we not see the same clips? It was unacceptable. Right? I don't care if you don't think like, oh, I don't think it's that big of a deal as a viewer here. Like, that's insane. That's crazy.
That is like number one.
And this is the problem, is that like people give people that they enjoy, they watch, they like, way more leeway than they should. Or just like men in general, way more leeway than they should. Like, you look at something and you say, oh, well, that's a normal thing, therefore it must not be as bad as it should. Assuming that they are able they feel they're able to file as erroneous. Women often feel they cannot push back due to blowback, and a female streamer pressing charges against a streamer chuds like a man, this climate will be very unsafe. What are you talking about, chatter? I'm not saying that they feel like they are able to file. I'm saying that if they want to file, right, if that's the choice that they make, right, then they should be able to do so. And if they don't want to file, then I'm not saying that we should force them to do so. I'm not talking about like what the climate demands and how if they feel like they can file or not. I'm saying that if they do want to file, they should be able to do so. Like, I feel like you're just misunderstanding my perspective. We should provide the victims in the situation whatever tools are necessary to get whatever justice they think they want from this situation.
Important factor which determines a good event. If people who show up have a good time, that's what I care about, man. And I dropped the ball yesterday. I mean, to be real, I dropped the ball. Because not only did people not have a good time, some people had like an explicitly bad time. Like they were uncomfortable, wanted to leave early, needed to leave early.
Like also, I want to point out this message here from this chatter, right? And this is why you should never get too parasocial with any streamer. Right? Be like, nah, they definitely had a good time. Don't worry, Ludwig, you did a great event. Don't let the haters get you down. Don't let the haters get you down. They definitely had a good time. Like, just take a step back, just for a second. Right? You don't know these people. You don't know these people. You don't. Like, that's so crazy. Also, like, the jokes. Right? Gen Z is trying to cancel Mango. Like, this is sexual assault. Like, what are we talking about? Someone said still my goat as well. Like, what are we talking about? I feel like someone should have stepped in and helped. Dude, he was toasted and unfortunately he needs someone to babysit him. This is unacceptable. I don't think Mango had nefarious intent, but I agree it's up to the victims and how they feel Zoil included. Again, I can't project myself into Mango's mind. I don't freaking know Mango. I'm not a Mango fan, you know? I don't watch the like Smash scene or whatever. So I can't speak to like his character in general, right? And so I will only judge based upon what I've seen, and what I've seen is not good. I said charges should be filed and you brush it off. When did I brush it off, chatter? What the fuck are you talking about? I said if the victims want charges to be filed. Because I don't sit here and think that I know what the victims want. And I'm going to impose my will, regardless of what it is, on what the victims want. I am not in the situation. I am not one of the victims. I wasn't there. So what are you talking about? I'm saying that we should support the victims regardless of what choice they decide to make. That's because the woman who was raped. Okay, it doesn't matter. I don't think I should be speaking for the victims. What are we talking about here? I was very clear. I don't think I should be speaking for the victims. I think we should support the victims based upon whatever decision that they make. And I'm sorry that happened to you, chatter, but that's not changing my take. we should support the victims, whatever choice the victim decides to make. That is what the role that we should play is. You may not be able to make that decision. Then what do you want me to do, chatter? The point that I'm making is that we should operate as a support system for whatever that choice is, right? To make them feel like they can make that choice. But I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna file charges on behalf of the victims. Like what are we talking about? I just want to point that out and you crashed out because I disagree with you. You know what? I'm sorry that happened to you, chatter, but I'm not arguing with you here. I'm not arguing with you here. You can go elsewhere. You can go somewhere else. Right? You're not changing my mind. My take is still the same. We should support the victims regardless of what their choice is. Right? We should craft a society and a space where people feel safe enough to, if they so choose to file charges, they should be able to do so. Right? You were highlighting the fact that not everyone wants to go through the entire lawsuit with the current judicial system and consecration landscape. Yeah. Right? They may want to handle this interpersonally, right? Because they know the way that they'll be treated by the space at large. And if they choose to go that route, I'm not going to sit here as a man and be like, no, you must put yourself in a vulnerable position, right? And go through the legal process if you want to leave this behind you. I don't get to make that choice. I don't get to make that decision for the victims. I am not the victims. And this is expanded into the wider landscape as well. Is that a decision for us to make? That's my point. I think behaviors can be addressed and changed without necessarily needing the law to get involved. They want to file charges, they can and should. Problem with that chatter's mindset is we shouldn't take the agency away from the victims, women's victims, and shouldn't speak for them. The chatter is projecting their own experience onto the victims of this situation, right? And again, I'm sorry that the chatter went through that, right? But again, even if the chatter has the right to do that. The chatter can do that if they want to. They can be like, oh, I think that they should file charges or whatever, right? I was specifically speaking from my perspective, and that is I will not sit here and be like, oh, the victims need to go through the routes that I declare are valid for them to go through, and anything else is invalid. Because that's not my place. And I will stand on that. I don't care who you are. I will stand on that. I think the chatter was saying that others should stand in for those people with or without being involved. I don't think that they realize it will ultimately drag them in regardless. I feel for that chatter, but at the end of the day, always be the choice for the victim, and you should support them, support what they choose. Yeah. I was just gonna move on until the chatter was talking about like I was crashing out because they disagreed with me. And not that the chatter just misunderstood my perspective, right? Because I have instances where I've said this take before. I've had these conversations before with chat, and then chat goes into like implying that I like agreed with the men and I was on the side of sexual assault or whatever, right? And so I'm nipping that in the bud before it even gets there. Let's continue.
Because they were just feeling uncomfortable, you know? And that's like ultimately my fault, right? That's on me. That's my event. That's my job to do that. So I feel really bad about that. And, you know, I reached out to anyone who I felt might have felt
Is
uncomfortable.
it acceptable for the chatter saying that Sean was crashing out and insinuating that you were not properly supporting the victims? Yeah, I don't know. Let's move on. Let's move on. Right. Hopefully the chatter finds peace in their life. Right. Like not even like in a snarky way, but like in a very genuine way.
And talk to them. But also, and I already told Mango this, I'm no longer inviting Mango to Mogul Moves events. Cause like
Overanalyze here, but look at
you know, it's a privilege
from him. I don't know. I don't want to say this. This is not genuine from Ludwig, right? I haven't seen enough to make that distinction.
Already told Mango this. I'm no longer inviting Mango to Mogul Moves events. Cause like, you know, it's a privilege to go to an event, man. Like the whole point of an event is like, it's a fun thing to do, have a good ass time. And if somebody appearing jeopardizes somebody else having a good time, that just can't be a thing. Now I see a lot of dialogue on like broader implications. I'm only worried about my team, my events, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't speak for the Melee community. I'm not like championing any other action. I'm just taking the action I can take, you know what I'm saying? And the action I can
Like
Sugar 961 just
any other action. I'm just taking the action I can.
Like, what are we talking about here? Because Ludwig has events intertwined with the Melee community too. I think what he's saying here, I don't necessarily disagree with, is that there are calls to like ban Mango from like Melee tournaments as a whole. But I think he's saying that he can't like make those calls for like the Melee tournament. I think that's fair, I guess. You know. Like he's speaking for his event specifically. But yeah, this chatter being like, Lud finally hosted a Diddy party. Like, that's a Tectone viewer. You say that because you know this viewer's name for Tectone's chatter. You just, you know, imagining. Have you seen Mango's tweets? I have. We'll talk about Mango's tweets in a second.
Take, you know what I'm saying? And the action I can take is the events I control. So for my events, that's the game plan. I talked to Mango, and for what it's worth, he was very like accountable. He was like, I get it, you know, whatever you got to do, I you know, deserve it, really. So he gets it, which is good, because it's definitely not a fun conversation to have, especially hungover as shit, thrown up. But it's also important to do it, and important to do it quickly today, because
people are still like the GOAT. You know what I mean? Like, what are we?
Like, I don't want this to impact Master Baker. Like, I don't want to be at Master Baker and it be awkward or weird. Now,
like, like Mango turned Beerio into Didio. Like, what are we talking about here?
You know, luckily I talked to everyone. Everyone seems good. It was more like, hey, it was weird. It was uncomfortable. I didn't want to be there. You know, so I think Master Baker still going to be good. That shit's happening at 3 today. So still doing that. Still probably going to go to Adapts after and watch the NBA Finals. But that was the big T. What happened? There's a bunch of clips, but the short of it is...
This is good for the 11-month subscription.
Mango was just harassing a bunch of people at the event. And it wasn't like...
Finals draft? I didn't even know what was happening.
I mean, you could see the clips. It wasn't like with people he is familiar enough, like with a rapport, to do that. You know what I'm saying? It is a tough watch. There's a reason I'm not watching it. It's not a fun watch. I've seen them. It's a ooh. So you guys can, you know, it's out there. It's easy to find. It's a hard watch for sure.
I think honestly the chat isn't good reflective of what the focus on here. They are people fishing for attention, and I don't add anything good to the conversation, in my opinion. No, I think the chat is indicative of the audience you've crafted, right? Depending on what they're saying, what they choose to focus on, to a certain extent. Not like, I don't think it's the main focus, and the reason why I'm focusing on the chat is because I think Ludwig's statement here is fine, right? Like, I don't think it's bad. I think it's overall, I think it's a solid way to address the situation. I still think it should have been more direct. Like, I think instead of calling it harassment, calling it sexual harassment. Is an important thing to note. It's an important distinction. I think, again, we're not done with this in this entire conversation yet. But I think calling out the fact why he didn't act sooner is important. Right? And why nobody at the event acted to stop it from getting to the point in the first place. Because if it was one clip, it would be one thing. But it's like there's a compilation. Now it seems like he's insinuating it's overblown. I don't necessarily agree with that. Right? I don't think he's insinuating that it's overblown. Right? I think he's taking it seriously, but I think he's still trying to PR it a little bit. That's my perspective. I think he's still trying to PR it. I think he's trying to I think he's neutering the what it actually was, which was at minimum said harassment. That's serious. There's a difference between harassment and sexual harassment. For like, come on, you have to acknowledge that, chatter. Right? There is a difference between harassment and sexual harassment. And I think calling it what it is, right, is important. I think that there's a reason why he's not using the sexual harassment term. Because that term is a lot more icky than harassment. Him thrusting is why it's sexual harassment. I mean, there's no question that it's sexual harassment. I think it gets to the point of being sexual assault. Because it's not, I think, here, I'll describe the distinction here. What he's doing here to Senna, this is sexual harassment. Right?
No!
Him helping behind Senna, right? This is sexual harassment. This, right? This is sexual assault. Right? There is a difference there. Which is why I said at minimum, it's sexual harassment. You know, I don't think that Ludwig called it sexual harassment. Right? So that's my perspective. I think that one, the statement is solid. It's definitely better than we've seen in the streaming landscape previously. But I think Ludwig should have called it like it actually was, which is sexual harassment at minimum. And two, again, we're not done with watching this yet. I think he continues talking about it. But he should also talk about what he, as the event organizer, and what he, as a person in the room, should have done differently in the situation. Right? Because I think him as an event, and his team too, exactly, yeah. I think that falls under him as an event organizer. That's what I think. That's what I want from a statement addressing what happened. Right? He already fulfilled the third thing, which is what he's going to do in the future. Mango's not invited back. Right? But he's missing those first two things, in my personal opinion.
And then I guess, you know, some people I see are like, oh, well, why'd you even invite him in the first place? This is our third Beerio Kart event. You know, like we've done this twice before with Mango both times. And it wasn't a problem. So that was my expectation.
I don't think a dream competition should be an event like at all. I I won't go as far as to say that.
This. And I only think I was actually there for like one interaction with Emily where Mango was like being in my thought in the moment too touchy. So I put a stop to that. But I didn't really like, you know, I was too locked in, I think, on like running the event, commentating, playing to like keep track of that. And, you know, this is also.
I don't fully agree. Not the idea that he didn't know specifically, but like the idea that he should have known. Right? He has a team. Like the event is run by a team. There's staff walking around. And it's still his event. Right? At a certain point it transitions from being like ignorant to like, you know, you should have known. Someone should have told him. Right? And maybe that's a conversation that he should have with his team, but it's something that he should be negligent. Thank you. But like there was a breakdown from the event staff communicating that people at his event were uncomfortable to him being the person who runs the event. You know? And he has to hold that.
I saw some
Lately,
other
thank you for
complaints
the 3-month free subscription.
About Beerio and the production quality. We're a way smaller team now, y'all. We are a way smaller team now.
What did he say? Sorry.
Smaller team about Beerio. You know, this is also. I saw some other complaints about Beerio and the production quality. We're a way smaller team now, y'all. We are a way smaller team now. This is not off-brand events, productions, where that shit is lock and key. Like, we have a dozen total people staffed. So the advantage is last year Beerio cost $75,000. And, you know, we had 30 people running it. This year it cost $15,000 and we had like 5 people running it. So it's like, it's going to be a little different. Now, having said that,
I'll say, yeah, I won't harp on this too much because I think that it's not particularly relevant. But I don't think this is the time or place to have this conversation about the production quality of the event. Because it does read as though an excuse. Even though I know that that's not what he's doing here. He's not necessarily saying because we have less people I didn't catch it or whatever. He's not saying that. I think it's the implication is there. But that's what it reads like in this response. Where he's literally about to say that's not an excuse.
Still no excuse for the, like, I don't know what you call it.
Yeah. Yeah. The implication is still there though, right? That's kind of my point, right? Is that even if he didn't intend for it to be an excuse, the putting it in this or talking about it in this section of addressing what happened in Beerio Kart, it reads as an excuse. That's my perspective. Even though I acknowledge that I don't think that he's trying to do it as an excuse.
Like comfortability, like that shouldn't be jeopardized. And I don't think necessarily was because we were shorter staffed, but anyway, that's it.
I think it's responding to what he saw on the Reddit. He definitely should have omitted this section when responding to most serious topic. Yeah, that's my take.
Big sort of like ugly shit we got to talk about. Thank you, Will. Appreciate that. A lot of people reached out who went to the event who had a good time, which is good. So I know some people had a good time, but like one person has a bad time, it's a failed event in my mind. So, I mean, to be honest, I don't think we're making a YouTube video of this event now. Like, I think I'll just throw it on Ludwig. I think it would just
I will say also, and at this point, I can't tell if I'm being nitpicky or if, like, the response does have genuine problems. I think reducing it down to it being a bad event where people didn't have a good time. Yeah, exactly, Chatter. Is also a bit weird. Right? Because it's not just a bad event where people didn't have a good time. It's an event where sexual assault happened on your watch at your event. Right? With somebody that he invited. Like, that's kind of the perspective.
hard to do it in a
Chatter, did you die while typing this message? Are you good? Cat, probably. Bet it's a cat. Say hi to the kitty.
way that's not you know what I mean? Like, because there's like context to Mango having won twice that I would either have to like ignore or talk about, but then ignore, you know, so to me it's weird. So
wait, what?
Context in a way that Ludwig, I think it would just be hard to do it in a way that's
he's talking about the YouTube video.
You know what I mean? Like, because there's like context to Mango having won twice that I would either have to like
he's basically explaining why he can't make a video out of it because he can't cut out Mango from the video.
Or talk about, but then ignore, you know, so to me it's weird. So a bit of a bummer there. But thank you guys, because outside of that, it did go really well. Like, I was very happy with your reception to it. That aspect went well, I should say.
Okay, then he moves on for like 3 minutes, talking more about the event, but he gets back to it apparently at 13 minutes, 9 seconds.
No, the clips are insane. Mango's not invited back to future Mogul Moves events. And we're not making a Beerio Kart video. And I don't know if we'll run back another Beerio Kart event. Not even fully related to this, to be honest. I actually had a thought.
Okay, then he goes on to something else. And then he also talks about it again at 19:45.
Oh, also a couple more things. This is from one of my producers, Liza, but we did cut off Mango on alcohol about an hour before stream ended.
Okay, my question is, right, at what point was Mango sexually harassing people? Because if it's just a freaking 5-hour stream, if it's an hour before streaming it, that's 4 hours, right? How long was he, you know, doing shit like this before that happened in the first place? Has Maya responded or addressed this? I don't think so, but I also don't. I don't know if she will. I don't necessarily. I'm not looking for be like, okay, now the victims must respond or talk about it. I don't think you should either. I think if they do talk about it, then they talk about it, and if they don't talk about it, I think you should leave it be. That's my perspective on it.
But I mean, he went into it really drunk. And I also personally apologize. I look back, it's very cringy now. But I was like applauding like him getting new PBs with his blood alcohol, which is like, you know, super poor taste, especially on hindsight.
this is interesting because I think he's starting to do what I want him to do, but it's still super neutered and watered down. Like he was enabling, right? That's what he was doing. And yeah, he's tiptoeing around his enablement of Mango getting to the point that he was at, right? Which led to Mango, you know, being emboldened to you know, sexually harassing people at the event in the first place, right? So I think it's good that he acknowledged it, so he gets half a point for acknowledging it, right? But then he loses that half point again for just like stopping there. So now he's back at like 0 points.
Obviously that wasn't the intention. The intention is like similar to when we did the Doug challenge with alcohol, where we're getting new PBs on the breathalyzers, but it definitely looks way different on hindsight. So I felt bad about that. Master Baker's at 3 today. Master Baker's at 3 p.m.
And then he talks about it the last time at 21:06, apparently.
It's not the best idea to have someone with substance abuse problems participate. Again, Mango's participated in 2 other Beerio Kart events. This ain't the first one. Like, we've done it. Like, I have something to go off of. So I think what you're saying.
Okay. I think this is actually the worst part of the response, in my perspective. Right? This might be the worst part of the response, because in the clips that we see where Mango is sexually harassing people, you have like people at the event being like, oh, this is just normal Mango. I've seen Mango way more drunk than this. So it's not that like people did not know Mango had a problem. It's not that people did not know that Mango had an issue with abusing alcohol, right? Or getting crazy drunk while on alcohol, like doing insane things. It was being memed about, right? Here.
Bro, Mango, give Mango water. Look at this motherfucker.
I gave it the beer.
Yep. Let him know, bro. Let him know.
Dude,
Can we zoom in on that?
Stan is the worst person.
No. I've seen Mango 10 times drunker than this. That's right. That is
He said, I've seen Mango 10 times drunker than this. And people are like, yeah, that's right.
very true.
He's like, yeah, that's true. So it's not like people didn't know. Right? It's not like people didn't know. Right? And this is disappointing to me, because like I'm a fan of these creators. Right? I like Stans. I like Ludwig. Right? But this is indicative of a wider problem, and this keeps happening in this space because people let this shit slide. Right? This isn't unique to the streaming landscape. This is frat boy culture. But like when you have frat boy culture on camera, right? You put the people who are like in these events, right, in harm's way. Right? And honestly, like, this is like, I don't want to say this is worse. This is a different kind of bad. Like, the thing about frat boy culture is you bring in like, you know, 18, 19, sometimes 17, because these frat boys are disgusting, year old, you know, children essentially around these like 20-something-year-old men, and they're doing shit like this around these like freaking 16, 17, 18-year-olds, right? But like, these are accomplished women in the landscape. These are pioneers, right, of content in the land. These women have a larger following than all these other fuckers in this room. Extra Emily, Cinna, Maya pulls in more numbers than everybody else in this room, basically. And they're getting treated like dog shit. Dog shit. And for some reason, We know the reason. For some reason, nobody is speaking up on their behalf. Is that not weird? Right? Very clearly uncomfortable with what's going on here. And they're just standing around letting that shit happen. It's not like there are nobodies. Some of the most accomplished people, not women, fucking people in the space. And these people let that shit happen. That's so fucking gross. It's so gross. And nobody's gonna say shit about it for the most part, right? Because something that I describe all the time, and that's the thin purple line. Nobody wants to speak up and put themselves at risk to speak on the behalf of the people who are harmed in these situations. People don't want to do it in real life, and they definitely don't want to do that shit in the streaming landscape. Right? And this is what people always talk about when it comes to these spaces, and that it feels like a fucking boys club. Right? You remember last year, or I think it was the year before that, right? In 2022 or 2023, 2024, where Cutie announced, no, that was definitely 2024, because there was 2 Stream Awards 2024. Cutie announced the Sapphire Award, right? Highlighting women in the space, and people were like, what? Whoa, that's crazy. That's just, why do women have to have their own award? Can women not be can women not be successful in other award categories? Why do you have to give them a special award to do so? Right? People were acting like the women and men in the streaming landscape had the same experience, that they experienced the same thing, that they were playing on an equal playing field. Y'all remember when people were doing that? And then things like this happen, and then it's just like, oh, shrug, you know, maybe we'll talk about it, maybe we won't. Right? People got mad at women saying that the streaming landscape feels like a boys' club. And this is a perfect example of that. But how way too believable and expected this is, men allow this shit around them all the time. Yeah, all the time. I'm confused. I've heard the thin purple line. What is that? You probably heard it from me. You could not have heard it from anyone else. I made it up, right? The thin purple line essentially describes why large streamer in the streaming landscape never seem to be able to call each other out, right? That's describing that mindset. It's the thin purple line. It's large streamer solidarity. They will never call each other out for any reason, whether it comes to like political stuff, supporting genocide, things like that. The reason why Asmongold gets away with all the shit that Asmongold gets away with and still gets invited to events, right? Thin purple line. The reason why DDG is still running around here having very credible allegations of abuse, still invited to events, thin purple line. Right? The reason why nobody seems to speak up on the behalf of the women here, right? Nobody put themselves at risk to be like, hey, this shit is bad. Thin purple line. That's what the thin purple line describes. Right? Because you get benefited, right? You get not benefit, you get rewarded, right? For staying silent on this shit. To the point where like again, I talked about it with one of my videos. I don't remember. I see all my videos are versioning. I don't remember. With Cinna talking about Asmongold, right? How Cinna got an entire LSF hate thread about you feel me? Entire LSF hate thread about calling out Asmongold, being like, oh, Cinna calls out Asmongold and thinks that Asmongold should be harmed by, you know, his words or whatever. Right? You get shit like that when you do speak up. Right? And this is a problem, right? Because I guarantee that if any of these men did speak up in this moment, the chat would be calling him a pussy. Right? And because they know that's the case, a lot of times they don't do it because they don't want that response. Like if you are at a frat house and you see a your frat bro over there being getting handsy on what could very well be a child, which happens all the time, by the way, in frat houses, right? If you could be like, yo, bro, get off her. Like, you know, first of all, you don't know how old she is. Second of all, you know, she don't want you on her like that, right? Yeah, you either get called a simp or you get called a buzzkill or a pussy or a number of different things, right?
John the Black says, she's my African princess.
Like that's how you were described. And so a lot of men don't want to be perceived like that because they put a lot of stock in how other men view them, right? And so they oftentimes don't say shit. And they just let it rock. They just let it happen. Right? To keep their standing in the men hierarchy. You know? I'm not defending it, but the bystander effect is super strong. I've had this effect affect me for much less serious situations, like calling out problematic statements out. That I imagine is harder for this, but obviously the only remedy is that you have to get past it regardless. I mean, this is not even like, the problem is like, this isn't the bystander effect, chatter. This is like enablement, right? Like what Stan said here earlier was enablement. Seeing what Mango is doing, instead of being like, someone to get Mango some water, he's acting crazy. And Stan's being like, oh no, I gave him beer. That is enablement. That is enablement. Also, Grandma, thank you for the 21-month resubscription. Much appreciated. What's up? I said anything about this afterwards. I don't know. You can go and try to see if you can find a statement. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Give nigga water. Look at this motherfucker.
I gave him the beer.
Yep. Let him know, bro. Let him know.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, let him know. Like, and I think the problem is that I think part of the problem is that I don't think that they see this as sexual harassment. Right? Aren't all the men in this room 30 plus? No, like 25 plus at least. Like I don't think that they see this as sexual harassment. Right? And I will acknowledge that in the moment, it is a lot harder to acknowledge that. Right? In the moment, like in this moment, it is harder than like having hindsight to acknowledge it for what it is. Another 30 plus. No, there are definitely people in this room who aren't, like Ludwig's not even 30, I don't think. I think it's like Ludwig's like 29, right? They're too damn old if we're gonna respond to it. Like too damn old regardless, but like the boys hump each other all the time, locker room play. And I also have a take on this because I want to talk about this as well, right? There is this is what the patriarchy does. This is how the patriarchy also harms men, right? Men are also groomed by the patriarchy to think that that's okay. Like locker room play is not okay. It's not. But men are also groomed by the patriarchy the same way, right? They're groomed to enact the patriarchy to think that that's okay. Men go humping on other men without consent. It's still bad, right? But you can't say it's bad unless you're seen as like, you know, not a man, because it's seen as like man behavior. Oh yeah, we're men behavior. We're supposed to do all this, you know, psychosexual shit to each other in the locker room because that's what men do, right? And if you don't like that, well, you must not like it because you're gay, right? It must be because you're gay and you actually secretly enjoy it. Like these are things that people say. If you've ever been to a high school locker room, people say shit like this. They act like you're the weird one for not wanting your consent violated, right? Or that you're weak, or you're less of a man for not enjoying this, right? He will refuse to say that that's not okay. He just said that Mango wasn't familiar enough to do that. Yeah. Like, so like that's an issue. Like, so Mango doing this to like someone said that Mango was also doing it to Zoil. Mango doing this shit to Zoil is also bad. Right? That's also sexual harassment. Like it is. Let's see if I can find that. Does anybody have it? I didn't see the Zoya one, but somebody said it existed. Let me have an incident of a streamer or someone Sean talked about that was asking his teen friend if he slept with someone or something inappropriate question. Yeah, DJ Academics. DJ Academics like asking this like freaking 15-year-old boy like sexual questions and stuff like that. Like they got children, like what is he doing here? Junior high kids bean dipping in nutsack tack is a fun game, but there's this one kid who's always doing it. I've never heard freaking bean dipping before. Lillian was also a victim of this too. Yeah. To be fair, that's a different conversation. But yeah, consent violation as well. Bean dipping is hitting boobs. Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about then. Yeah. And so there are like numerous layers of bad here. Right? Numerous layers of bad here. But I want to get into two things I want to get into is Mango's statement itself and Mango's statement itself and Slime's statement as well. Here, this is Mango's first statement because Mango's first statement was bad. It was not good at all. Seeing the clips is so uncomfortable because it did feel like a high school party where it was all normalized. Now looking back on it, I'm like, did anybody think this was okay? I think this is the current push to teach kids to understand consent is very important. It doesn't fix it, but it's a step. Yeah. First, there's multiple. Yes, there are multiple statements. I believe there's two, because this first one sucked. It wasn't good. Wait, no, sorry. There's three statements. Apparently, there was a new one that came out an hour ago. He made one statement 1 day ago, one statement 20 hours ago, one statement 1 hour ago. Apparently, here. This is what the first statement was. Yeah, third time's the charm, I guess. He said, "Hate waking up and seeing that I was a drunk dumbass. Don't like using the drunk excuse, but it's childish. Because it's childish, but in the moment, I think everyone was as drunk as me. And that's usually not the case. I would like to apologize to anyone I made uncomfortable and hope I'm forgiven." Yeah. Okay, I read that terribly. Let me read that again. Let me try it again one more time. Hate waking up and seeing I was a drunk dumbass. Don't like using the drunk excuse because it's childish, but in the moment, I think everyone is as drunk as me, and that's usually not the case. I will privately apologize to anyone I made uncomfortable and hope I'm forgiven. Right? Isn't he 30 plus? I genuinely don't know, honestly, maybe. Right? But basically, he's 33. They're all grown. They are all grown for the most part. The statement's not good, right? It's bad. It's just like, yo, I was drunk, and in the moment, I thought everybody was drunk. Like, one, being drunk does not excuse sexual harassment. Two, being drunk with other drunk people also does not excuse sexual harassment. That's just not the case. Did you watch the AI video? Yikes. Oh, my AI video? Shout out Scully for editing that video, by the way. Quick turnaround. So if you like that editing, that was Cluey's editing. But if you like that editing sucks, you actually like my editing better, I will take that. I appreciate that. My editing is pretty solid, I will say. If in your response to backlash, you say anything about an excuse, not excusing it, just delete the part and take accountability. Yeah. Bro said W me. If you ever find yourself blaming alcohol for something you did, take a step back and look within. Yeah. So this is this is the first statement. The second statement was this. I feel very fucking stupid and embarrassed to think like 99% of my problems always stem from drinking, so I'm going to reevaluate my relationship with alcohol. I'm not downplaying anything. I know I'm dumb and know better. I will accept any consequences that come my way. Okay. This is like the same thing as Cheddar said. It's just like, man, look what the alcohol made me do. Like, so that's yeah. This is also a problem with like freaking men. That's my go. We are in the same boat. Gentleman drinker mango incoming. So we play Blame It on the Alcohol by JB Fox. Yeah. Play Blame It on the Alcohol by JB Fox. That's statement number 2. This doesn't even really address what he's done, right? This also doesn't address what he's done. I mean, it's not a good response, but I think if he was thoughtful and articulate, he wouldn't be in a position to begin with. I see it trying to make amends. But like, in order to do that, you have to acknowledge what you've done. Right? Or, and I will say, reach out to people before your public apology. People should not find out you're apologizing on Twitter. Right? Like, if I were to change just like one thing about the apology, instead of saying I will privately apologize to anyone I made uncomfortable, say I have already apologized to people who I've wronged. Right? In the first place. But this is the only apology number 2 here. This is apology number 3. Couldn't sleep, feel like I let so many people down, talked to a few friends and realized I have a problem. Everyone has called on me for so long and kind of looked the other way when it came to my drinking. Don't want anyone to feel bad for me / defend me. Sorry to everyone I've let down or hurt. I know it's just looks like I'm trying to save face, but I genuinely feel awful about it. All I've done is reflect on my life and I realize I'm a broken human. I will try to redeem myself over a time and always do. Wait, I will try to redeem myself over time as I always do. Gonna stop drinking immediately and get it together. Sorry I'm a bug up and I will and can do better. If you get it, you have a drinking problem. I think it's good to acknowledge. The main problem I see with all 3 of these statements is I think acknowledge that he did wrong. It's still good. I think it's still a good thing. But it still kind of centers himself. Right? In the apology. And all good apologies don't center the perpetrator, but instead the victim. Right? And so I don't want to spend too much time being like, aha, your apologies suck, mango, or whatever. Because I don't think it's productive. But I wish there was still more of a focus on this is how I'm going to make right by the victim, as opposed to being like, I have a problem. I always bounce back though. I'm going to be better. I need to stop my drinking. Me. Right? Because this isn't about mango. This is deeper. This entire situation is deeper than mango. Right? Mango is like the biggest piece of the pie, but still only a piece of that pie. Right? It's about how the victims were treated and why nobody did anything to stop it. To be fair, he should go through a mediator and not reach out himself first. I believe Ludwig has touched base with everyone affected. It's up to Mango to reach out to Ludwig to ask or to be able to apologize directly to anyone willing to hear him out. I don't necessarily agree to that like as a full sale solution. Right? Even if it's not receptive, I think reaching out just through a Twitter DM being like, I'm sorry. Right? It's still important to do so. Instead of offloading that off to like Ludwig being like, well, I told Ludwig to apologize on my behalf, so I'm chill now. Right? I do think that there is a weird line to ride without not being more or putting the victims in a worse position and making them more uncomfortable. And there are situations where you are totally correct and going through a mediator is important. Right? But I do think that there are also situations where reaching out directly is also important. It really depends. You know? It really depends. I think it's like acknowledging what it is that make people upset is purposely deceptive and it negates any apology. Yeah. 1, you must always say sorry. 2, never expect forgiveness for your actions. 3, don't make it about yourself. And pick yourself up. Failed at all 3. I mean, okay, to be fair, he did hit the sorry at in the 3rd apology. Right? But I had to check. I was like, wait, did he actually not say sorry? In the first 2, he didn't. There's no, I'm sorry. Like, for my actions. In either of the first 2 apologies. It took him 2 days. Right? And like 5 paragraphs down, if you will. Like 5 sentence fragments down to finally get to the sorry to everyone I've let down or hurt. You know, like he said, sorry to everyone I let down, not sorry I assaulted you. You're correct, Chatter. But he didn't even get to the half measure apology until the 3rd apology. I think that's also important to know. He didn't even say the word sorry until the 3rd apology. Even then, it was a half measure, right? Sorry to the people I've let down or hurt, right? So you could say that he technically apologized to Ludwig before he apologized to any of the victims in his public apology, right? Because this sorry to everyone I've let down is an apology to Ludwig. It's not an apology to the people he's actually harmed. That comes after the apology to Ludwig. Was there any mention of any attempt by people running the event to get him to stop during the event? I may have missed it. Ludwig said that they cut off Mango from alcohol an hour before the stream ended. But that's really all that I've seen. Also, being drunk is an excuse for a much deeper, darker problem. I've had a lot of with a lot of people over while I was in active addiction. But I've never sexually assaulted anyone. This isn't the first time he's done this, and he used addiction as an excuse. Tells me that he doesn't want to acknowledge the real problem, which is he doesn't want to listen when people say no. I mean, that is it is a way harder problem for people to acknowledge, for sure. So that you're completely correct. I would have kicked him out like in a bar, to be honest. Probably got talked to by Ludwig, so it's the only reason he apologized for that. It's kind of insane how clueless he was about what he did. I won't go that far because I just don't know the intricacies of that. But like, yeah. But I want to get to Slime's response, 'cause I think there's an interesting conversation to be had here. Because it doesn't even just stop at what Mango did, and it doesn't even stop at the way Mango was enabled in the moment. As I said earlier, he was also enabled, like, oh, this is the same thing. He's also enabled, like, after the fact, and people with, like, zero self-reflection, apparently, just, like, posting pictures of Mango. Like, nothing happened there. Like, Connor did it. Void did it. Slime quote tweeted a picture of Mango. Like there was like a number of different people who just posted pictures with Mango, and I felt like I felt like I missed something. I was like, did I miss something? It's a Connor fan account. Yeah, but this Connor posted on an Instagram story. That's my take. Right? I know Connor Eats Pants updates. They've been in here before. Right? But it was posted on Connor's Instagram story. But I'm just like, I'm confused. I'm like, so Slime reposted it or quote tweeted and was like, insane pic. And this person said not to be annoying, but probably a post worth looking at. Right? And so there's a post from Ludwig's subreddit. Mango is a creep and shouldn't be invited to any event ever again. Sexually harassing female streamers at Beerio Kart 2025. Right? Slime said, yeah, I saw some of these. I'm like, whatever, that's this is just drunk people. And some of these I'm like, yeah, bro, I gotta DM people and asked if he's crossed some lines, even if then I think women are incentivized to be like, yeah, it's all good when maybe it's not. Like, I don't agree with this first part. Like, I don't think any of this is to be like, yeah, it's just normal, just drunk things. Right, but I think he is correct here. And it's actually better analysis than I got from anybody else talking about the situation. In that there is truth to, like, yeah, women are incentivized to kind of be okay with what makes them uncomfortable. Because if they speak out on it, they are then treated as, like, you know, public enemy number one. Like, Slime is correct on this. But I do think that, like, he doesn't have to DM people being like, hey, did I cross a boundary? I think he needs to just apologize for it. Right? Like, so I don't fully agree with Slime's take here, but I will acknowledge that at least he's acknowledging this part, which I think a lot of people do miss. Right? Don't invite her, she's no fun, she ruins everything, etc. Not even just that, 'cause that's a part of it for sure. But like the comment sections. If like, imagine if none of this came out, but like Cinna came out the next day and was like, yo, Mango was being weird and it made me uncomfortable. Do you know the vitriol that she would receive for even just doing that? Like, just being a woman and expressing being uncomfortable by the way that people interacted with her. Like, and we don't even need to imagine. This has happened before. People blamed Cinna, Emaru, and Ray for like being violently attacked by a stalker. They blamed them for it. Like, they were talking about how they deserved it because of their content was being preyed on, like parasocial relationships or whatever. Like, people blamed like Amaranth for being her house being violently broken into and being held at gunpoint, debating on cryptocurrencies or whatever. Like, women by and large get blamed for, like, you know, being the victims of crimes. This happens for like not famous people as well. Right? There is it's like a saying at this point. What was she wearing? When a woman talks about an experience of being sexually assaulted, right? Raped, harassed. Oh, but what was she wearing though? Maybe she egged on. Maybe she was actually into it. You know, maybe. Like, this is a consistent and common thing. Like, see, like, so Slime was not incorrect here, right? But I still think it's still passive. It's still way too passive, right? It's kitty gloves, right? He doesn't have to DM people to ask if he crossed some lines. He needs to just apologize for it. And then he responded saying, thinking a bit, I think that this being a public thing changes the dynamic a lot as well. It makes a more sincere conversation harder. Like imagining this as a normal life scenario where everything wasn't filmed and posted, the above post is probably the best thing to do. But because you can just play back the tape, it's probably more of an apology anyway angle. So yeah, exactly. So Slime it basically said exactly what I just said as well. Yeah, it's probably more of an apology anyway angle, but that comes off with a feeling like of trying to cover your own ass, which is also a lame pretense. But at the end of the day, humans talking is still better than public circus. I don't know. I've been sober a long time. Yeah, so Slime is correct. He basically got to the take that I had, which is he should just apologize, and not ask if he crossed the line or whatever. Right? The person said, I don't know if you saw all the clips I saw, but holy shit, it looks really bad. Like, I don't know the dude, but I watched the stream from Sinna's POV and saw him do some weird shit, but it looks like he went out of his way to harass almost every single woman part of the event. Now, while I'm sure that's not what his intentions were, Drama Farmers on Twitter and LSF will sure as shit make it look like that, which makes it an instantly indefensible position for any public figure, especially people who put on events, i.e. you guys. Right? Look, man, I don't put on events. Someone just linked it because I quote-retweeted the picture and I watched the clips and I tweeted my thoughts. I was at home on the floor. If I get crucified for what I consider to be a very reasonable take, thought chain, then so be it, but otherwise it takes fuck up, right? I don't agree with this take, right? Because it's not like Slime is a completely passive observer here, you know what I mean? Like, while sure, Slime himself doesn't put on events, right? He's associated with Ludwig, who it was Ludwig's event, right? Like, Slime's podcast co-hosts were at the event and enabled that behavior as well, right? So while I don't think Slime should be like held accountable for what happened at the event, I don't think it's unreasonable for right, him to be put in this sphere. Then Slime in a clip responded to Cinna saying Smash players needed water to drink. I said I gave him more beer. No, that was Stance. That wasn't Slime. Slime wasn't there. Yeah, sorry about that, by the way. I feel like the spotlight is kind of thrown on you because you just happened to be the one who was sober and awake. Just curious if you were aware at the time. Wait, was Slime there? I don't think Slime was here during this clip. But I don't think Slime was at the event, though. No, Slime wasn't there? Okay. Oh, he means like at home, sober and awake. Okay, I understand. Shadow is saying that he's the only person who was like sober and awake at the time. Everybody else is like drunk and hungover. Okay. I understand. That's Nick from the yard in that clip. I know who Nick is, but I was confused because I was like, what is this? I was like, what is this chatter saying? I thought I misunderstood something. To be announced on the subreddit. Nah, it's okay. I think it's more peaceful to me not to reply, but I don't like the idea of doing something differently because it's my friend, and I'm the mango guy, so I'm getting people putting the mic up to my face like the courthouse steps. I think they were more hopeful that even though it's your goal that you'd be a little bolder with your words regarding Mango sexually harassing people. That's true. I think they mean that he was the first to address it. Yeah. I think I have an idea. Wait. I think I have this idea where I think people are so optics pilled and insincere to do an epic call-out post on Twitter. It's just something that does truly nothing besides solicit good boy points. And I've been this way for a couple of years after talking too loud in some situations. But saying nothing is also bad, right? So I gave my thoughts and revisited my thoughts after watching 4 clips and not the LSF Mango Cam cutdown. I'm more interested in talking about this stuff more calmly if it is serious, and people are taking that as some sort of concealment. So yeah, after thinking about it and watching more and really trying not to knee-jerk react, he was a complete menace in a bad way, and that fucking sucks. And because I defended him a lot for explicitly not being this kind of dude, and I still stand on my initial take too. And I could make this idea I'm talking to you in a bigger post, but I'm fine with leaving this in replies because it came out so more organically, and if people want to see it, they will. And if they don't, they'll just shit on me for perceived hand wave, fine. And that's kind of it. I think, all in all, this is definitely the best statement I've seen so far. And to be fair, we've only seen Slimes and Ludwigs, but it's still pretty passive. Like being like he was a complete menace in a really bad way. Like it's passive. It is. Especially when like the commenter was like called it sexual harassment. And it became more about like, oh, I'm trying not to you know, knee-jerk react or whatever, and more about like, so I'm talking about how he's responding instead of like actually just responding to like what Mango did. You know? But all in all, it's a huge cultural problem. Right? A huge cultural problem. Like, why is this picture up? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. It was posted like 2 days ago, and it's still up. Did you not see what was going on? Because like Void was there, by the way. Here. Like, Beerio Kart first place. Met a lot of cool people last night. And honestly had a great time. Big shout out to Lud for inviting me to Awesome event. Definitely staying in bed all day today. Right? Beerio champ stream. I'm so gone. Like, no response. No response. Just, man, what a great event that was. I had a swell time. Like, we have a cultural problem. A cultural problem. What he could have done is delete the pig. This is only able to happen because of enablement. That's just it. Right? And we see a common story from the men involved pretty consistently. Right? It's, oh, I didn't know. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Oh, this caught me off guard. Oh, if I knew, I would be different. Would you? Would you? Genuinely. People love to say that. Oh, I didn't know my friend was a rapist. If I would have known, I would have been different. Would you be different? Would you act differently? And I think a lot of people have to reckon with the fact that they wouldn't. Right? Not even that they wouldn't, it's that they didn't. And they have to hold that. Because it's not even just about them and their streaming careers. It's not even about how the Ludwig event happened and what this could mean, right? They put some of the most vulnerable people in this space in harm's way, and they did nothing about it. Like, this room is the size of a classroom, essentially. Like a high school classroom. You're telling me that the half a dozen instances on camera that was caught, by the way, because the cameras weren't always pointed on Mango. We don't even know what happened off the cameras. We don't even know if this continued off the cameras. We have half a dozen instances on camera of him operating in this way. And you're telling me that nobody involved knew? It's crazy. Like, in certain instances where, like, somebody does get involved to a certain degree, right? It's just not taken seriously.
You trying to do third round or no?
Mango's humping Emily.
I'm not.
Like, somebody said that Connor grabbed Mango. Again, if you can find me that, I would love to see it, right? But like, Doug is like, from what I've seen, this is the only instance of somebody being like, let's get away. I think, again, I still think it's too passive, entirely too passive, right? If this is happening, you see it's happening. Pull him away. Take him away. Don't just give up. Literally, seize him. Seize him. And that's the problem, right? There's instances where like Doug or stands or Ludwig would pull Mango away, but like only if they saw and Mango was doing it right in front of them. And even then, they just gotta give up. Like, and again, we're focusing on the streamers here because they're the talent. Not even to get started on the camera people. Like, to be fair, I can't tell who this person is, but like, there are people around. Like, you're telling me that this person right here, this guy, production, did not see what was going on.
No. He's humping toes. No.
End the stream. End it.
End the stream, Mango.
Like, it's happening right next to this guy. And this is the problem. The problem is not that they didn't know, right? I think it gets, we're arriving at a point of, right, of willful ignorance. Right? Willful ignorance. It's not that they don't know. It's that they don't want to know. Right? And this is a problem, right? This is a problem that you see with men and how they interact with other men. They don't want to be the person to be like, you got to stop. They don't want to be that person. They don't want to be the person to have to take on that responsibility. Right? Not my problem. Not even just not my problem. Right? They know it's bad. Right? To a certain extent. We can at least say that like Doug and Ludwig know what he's doing is not good. Because they at least try to stop him a little bit. Right? But they don't want to be the person who puts their foot down and be like, you got to cut it out. I know it's 10 minutes ago, but read the slime response. Mango has a Twitch email that's literally Slime's face. It's not just the Ludwig Association. Oh, okay. Thanks for the context, Shadow. I appreciate it. Like, we have a cultural problem. Maybe the bystanders thought that Mango was close enough to these girls that this wasn't a problem. No. No. Like, I understand what you're saying, Chatter, and that mindset is what allows or justifies passivity in like frat bro culture. Again, I bring up like the frat bro who's like kissing and touching up on a 16-year-old or whatever, right? You see your frat bro kissing up on a 16-year-old and you're like, oh, I'm sure she's above age. She looks a bit young, but I'm sure. No, Johnny would not be kissing up on a 16-year-old. It's not like him. Yeah, she looks a little bit tense, but like maybe she's just nervous, right? He wouldn't be violating her consent like this. This is how you justify it in your mind, right? This is how men justify it in their mind, right? They think, no, I know this guy, and he wouldn't be doing this thing, right? That's bad. So it must not be bad. There must be some other reason for it. So what you're describing, Chatter, is not incorrect, right? So I'm not yelling at you, right? But that's just how men justify it to themselves. Being like, oh, I know Mango, and Mango wouldn't like violate the consent of these women. He wouldn't do what makes these women uncomfortable. So they must be okay with this, right? But specifically with the Maya incident, Maya says no. Like there's no question about this, right? And they're all on fucking stream. This is all on stream, recorded. Chat's like, look at, I want you to look at what the chat's saying. Bro, stop. Ill. Oh, hell nah. Right? Wrong. Nah. W2F.
He's
Dude.
pumping
Loser. Mango. TF.
toes. Nah.
Surely not. Mango. Mango, go away. Mango's so creepy, bro. It's not like people knew or did not know this was happening. It's not like people did not, it's not like the chat did not acknowledge this was bad. And I guarantee you can probably go back into the VOD and check. There were people in like Ludwig's chat and in the chat of these other streamers being like, yo, Mango's being weird right now. Right? There was virtually zero way that everybody in this room was completely unaware. Virtually zero way. Virtually zero way. I don't think a lot of them were really looking at chat, not to be an apology or anything. My point is not that they were looking at chat. My point is that they were in the room. There's no way they didn't know what was going on. Right? But for somehow, some way, they've justified it in their mind. Right? It's why it goes deeper than just like the streaming landscape. Right? This is what the patriarchy does. Right? Patriarchy finds some way to justify this image in the minds of other men. Right? And everybody has their own reason. Right? One guy in this room looked at this image and saw this and justified it in a different way than a different guy. Somebody was probably like, oh, well, Mango's probably close to these women. They're probably fine with it. Right? Some people were like, oh, what Mango's doing is actually not that bad. So like, they don't even need to be fine with it because it's not that bad in the first place. Somebody was like, oh, I'm sure like, they would tell Mango to stop and they didn't tell Mango to stop. They're probably fine with it. They all of the people in this room knew what was going on and somehow, some way justified not getting involved. Right? Or they're like, maybe they were even like, yeah, this is bad. Maybe this is gross and I should say something. Right? But it's Ludwig's event and You know, I don't want to be the police at Ludwig's event, right? Ludwig will say something to him if it's really that bad. Right? Yeah, oh yeah, it's just a joke. Yeah, it's just a joke. Like, you know, they're laughing. They're laughing at it. It's just a joke. It's just a joke, you know? They're just joking. Right? And that's why the patriarchy is so damaging. That is why the patriarchy is so damaging. Right? Because there's not one reason why the freaking 30 men in this room let this happen. Right? There are 30 reasons why the 30 men in this room let this happen. And that's why it's so damaging. There's not a one-size-fits-all solution to making sure that this doesn't happen. Right? Because everybody had their own reason to justify why they didn't get involved. We don't know if anyone talked to them when the cameras went off, but we know that nobody said anything while the cameras were on. Well, again, if this was one clip, right, it would be terrible and it would be gross, but it would not be as disgusting as it is now, right? Because maybe their line of "oh, I didn't know" would work if it happened in an isolated incident for 10 seconds in the corner of the room one time in a 5-hour VOD. But this happened like 6-7 times to, from what I can tell, all of the women that were there. All of the women that were there. Someone was across the room, I get not seeing it, but didn't he go around the room? Not even just that, chat. It was specifically referenced. It was specifically referenced by people. People were staring at him do it. And they were like, oh, that's just Mango for you. Like, this clip is the worst clip. It is the worst clip.
What is, bro, Mango, give Mango water. Look at this motherfucker.
I gave him the beer.
Yep. Let him know, bro. Let him know.
Dude,
Can we zoom in on that?
Stan is the worst person.
No. I've seen Mango 10 times drunk than this. That's right. That is
Oh, yeah,
true.
he hasn't
That
peaked
is
yet.
very true.
This isn't Pete.
No.
This is like stage 2.
Honestly, this is sober.
He's literally standing on a chair, humping the chair behind Zinna. What are we talking about? This room is not that big. It's not that big.
He's not fighting anyone.
He's looking at her doing that. He's pointing at her. This is worse. Stop.
We didn't talk about before.
Y'all literally encouraged him to escalate this behavior and act like it's not only normal, but it's fun and encouraging and gross. It's so gross. It's so gross.
Can you give me a full shot?
That's fine.
Is it like good?
Right.
Like we have something or no?
No, it's good. It's good.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop. Like, again, it's not like people don't understand that this is gross.
Yo,
Mega,
what
the
are you
fuck
doing?
Are you doing?
Okay, watch full video.
Good. It's good.
Okay. Mango,
Mega,
what
the
are you
fuck
doing?
Are you doing?
Dude, Mango is a shit.
You have any Jaeger bomb, right?
No.
What's my birthday?
April.
No,
Mango
it's
was
March.
just
You
humping the
fucking
chair,
fool.
by the way.
You gotta have a
Mango
Jaeger.
is at What is he doing?
He's just humping
Dude,
chairs.
Mango?
You're having one.
Huh?
Jaeger bomb?
Oh, fuck you.
I don't even know who this is, right? But like, are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? Shooty pointed out, and he's like, "Yeah, Jaeger bomb, Jaeger bomb."
Bomb. Can he wait, is it okay? Can he have one?
He can have one.
Can he have one?
Yeah.
Wait, he has to have one, right? You're the boss. He has to have one.
Whoa, no, that.
And then he comes back.
Cameraman.
No, I'm not. What is, bro, Mango, give Mango water. Look at this motherfucker.
I gave it the beer.
Yep. Let him know, bro. Let him know.
Like, it's not like they don't know. It's not like they don't know. Like, this whole, oh, I didn't know thing, it doesn't fly. It doesn't work.
Dude,
Can we zoom in on that?
Stan is the worst person.
No! I've seen Mango 10 times drunk in this.
That's right. That is
Oh,
true.
yeah, he hasn't
That
peaked
is
yet.
very true.
This isn't Pete.
No.
This is like stage 2.
Honestly, this is sober.
He's not fighting anyone.
He's trying to fight me.
No, it's different.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
He's trying to fight me.
We're in the humping stage.
Oh, they're hitting
This
the
is early drunk.
sexo emote. They're hitting the.
Were you here tonight or you just show up?
I just showed up.
Okay, that makes sense.
Are you going to karaoke?
He's coming. He said
I am way more sober than everyone else.
just say yeah, just say yeah.
But
He's
I
coming.
said no.
What
I
if we
don't wanna
played
go in
Black
there.
Ops 2 and Halo 3 downstairs right now?
Rosie, oh, bitch. You're
Fuck, I'm so down. I like
In
Black
what?
no.
Ha! Thank you for the raid. You were live early today. Hello. How was stream? What did you do? I'm so sorry you're coming in during this time where we're talking about not good stuff happening.
Sean, the
I'm so disgusted. Thank you for the 913 subscription.
Luna__Ray just subscribed. I'm so disgusted. WTFFFF.
It's so bad, but I'm saying that's why they see it as not actual harm. Well, it doesn't necessarily matter how they see it, right? But I do agree. That's what I said. Right? Is that I think that is a problem in and of itself. It is a different problem. Right?
Oh, fuck karaoke.
Yeah, fuck
That
karaoke.
sounds like a vibe.
You suck ass at any COD. That was before 2019.
First of all, bitch, you're not good at any fucking game you've ever put your
You don't
hands
mean
on.
that. You know who really sucks?
I feel good at games, right?
Yeah, I didn't even put. Yeah, I'm just gonna close the Mario Kart.
Like, okay. It's not like this room is big. Chat, maybe if it was like a warehouse that had like 100 people in it, like maybe I would understand that. This room is not big. It's literally the size of like a high school classroom, essentially. Maybe a little bit bigger than that. You can see across the room. They're playing at the same tables. He's standing on the freaking chair. I do not buy, I didn't know from anybody involved in this. I don't. I do not. And I'm gonna need more than just Ludwig being like, yeah, Mango got a little crazy. He was doing a little bit of harassment. You know? Yeah, I probably want to invite him back, you know. I'm gonna need more than that. I'm sorry. It's so gross. It's so gross.
Yeah, I'm down as fuck. I'm so down. I like
what? Whatever this is.
I've checked with people for
Wash. Go ahead and refund myself.
you.
Whatever the settings were.
One map. Okay. All right. Who did hit it? It's on camera. I hit it on accident.
No.
He's.
I just want I want to see when Mango got kicked out, because somebody said Mango got kicked out. Right? I don't get why he's walking around full naked, bro. Not full naked. There's no clothes on. Like we haven't talked about that part, but like that's also like unacceptable, by the way. That is also like sexual harassment, if we're being real. If the people involved did not consent to it. Like that's another part. I would say it was an hour before it ended or something. He said he was cut off of drinks an hour before it ended. There was a chatter in here that said that he got like kicked out, which we know is not true. So that chatter was just lying, because Mango is literally in like here at the end of the event. We just saw him. So that chatter who was like, oh, he got kicked out. Yeah, the chatter just lied. He was on camera till the end of the stream. Maz, you got that chatter? I want to pull it up, make sure I'm not making that up. I'm pretty sure that chatter said that Mango got kicked out of the event. Does he mean kicked out of future events? No. The chatter said, no. The chatter said that Mango got kicked out because of his behavior in this event. Like they kicked him out of the event. That is what the chatter said. And I want to verify to make sure I'm not misunderstanding. Right here. He said, they said Mango was practicing for this all week, chugging beers. They did kick him out eventually. He left early, let me see. Mod comment, what does the mod comment say? Beware of lies from lying chat. Like, honestly, legitimately, all this chatter does is lie. I'm not even joking. I noticed it today as well. Even in the 5 or 758 chat. It wasn't on stream. I was wrong. I'm looking for them getting rid of him. Like, why? He says things with such confidence. Right? He says things with such confidence. Consistently. That are lies. This is the same chatter that was like, oh, Ludwig mentioned you by name. I remember. This is the same chatter that said Ludwig mentioned you by name. He mentioned your name yesterday. Oh no, sorry, this was Ethan. Sorry, it's a different person. Not that one. It was earlier. I think it was like early June actually. Or where's that at? Well, you got multiple mentions yesterday, both by Taylor Renz and Ludwig. Right? He mentioned you early in the VOD. I cannot find it, but he talks about it later about Black Vernacular. This chatter consistently just lies. He's like, oh no, I'll get the link. And then he disappears. Cheddar just like lies, being like, this thing happened. I have a link for it. And then he disappears. He did the same thing here. He was like, oh no, they kicked him out eventually. Let me find the link. And then he leaves. He sends a different link. He's like, actually, I got a better timestamp. And he just sends a random timestamp. And he's a drama baiter, chatter. You know what? I'm doing us all a service. I'm doing us all a service. He comes in here being like, oh, Ethan talked about you. Oh, Nicholas the Eat the Oreo talked about you. Oh, this person talked about you. Oh, this person, did you see this talked about you? Just like straight lying. I'm doing this all a service. I'll leave another mod comment. Bro cannot stop lying and drama baiting. Second mod comment. Ayatollah gave you a shout out. As they should have. I just real, but Iran just said the military base in Qatar. Save it. We're almost done with this section. We're gonna finish this thing. Also, we can talk about Taylor Lorenz in a second. I want to finish this segment. But it's so gross, right?
That I'm standing on. Wait, hold on. It. I'm out.
Like, Mango is right here. He's literally in the video.
Whoever wants to participate,
How many people?
I'll set it up 12, bro.
We need 12 people for third finals. 12 people get in the seats. 12 people go. 12 people.
I tried, bro. I tried. You saw me leading that whole fucking time, bro. I was leading that whole time, and boys, pussy ass fucking. I was faster at chugging than him. Every time I was faster. Every time I was faster. Deadass, I'm not even homophobic.
Homo?
No, I'm saying I'm not homophobic.
Give it up for Pride Month. We love Pride Month.
Yeah, shout out to my gay people in chat. Please subscribe.
Okay, wait. I was curious about how his chat was talking about Mango.
Love the game.
Like, okay, chat. Perfect. You see this room? I want you again. I keep bringing this up. Do you see this room? Now imagine if like there was a dude, right, in this room, just like standing on a chair right here, and you're telling me nobody saw him. There's a dude standing, humping on a chair here, and you're telling me nobody involved. No, nobody. Right? Over here, or over here, or over here, or anywhere. Saw him. I don't buy that. I didn't see. Right? The only instance we saw where like Ludwig got involved and said something was it this one? This one.
Emily, stop it.
Hi, Mango.
What are you pulling her hair?
Mango, you're so silly.
Don't beat her ass.
You guys are amazing. Who's that, Mango?
That was it. Bystander syndrome, weak, not equipped. Patriarchy. There's again, as I said before, every person in this room has their own reason for not saying anything, right? They might have thought what Mango was doing is not a problem. They might have thought it was a problem, but they didn't want to be the mean guy to call him out for it. They might have you know, didn't want to cause problems for the event because they wanted to be invited back. Yeah, clout power dynamics. Right, they might have thought that like, oh, Ludwig will get to him eventually. Like Ludwig will talk to him eventually. Like it's not my job to do so. There are every, and this is the biggest problem. As I said earlier, this is the biggest problem with the patriarchy is that there's not one reason why people in this room didn't step up, right? There is not a single reason why 30 different men in this room didn't step up. There are 30 different reasons, and they all justified it to themselves. And that is why the patriarchy is so insidious. So insidious. Right, yeah. Look, it reminds me when Mango tried to kiss me at the Genesis after a party in front of my man before we had to pull him out of the road. There's been instances where I've seen tweets like this where people talk about their own stories that they had with Mango, right? And honestly, like this is like extra context, but not even like necessary, because it's not that like we don't even have to prove that this is a pattern of behavior for Mango. We are told. This clip tells us. We don't need evidence that this is a pattern of behavior because we have Mango's friends telling us that this is a pattern of behavior for him. Right? They told us this. They're like, oh no, Mango does stuff like this all the time when he gets drunk. Right? He does worse than this, actually, when he gets drunk. Yeah, this is phase 2. We are told that specifically. And so like usually like other women's testimonies coming out are to try to convince the society, like the audience, that like, you know, this is not out of character for him to do. Because oftentimes you will see is when somebody gets accused of sexual assault, harassment, rape, they'll be like, oh, this isn't them. This doesn't seem like them. I know this person for X amount of years and he never did something like this. Right? And like you would need like multiple credible testimonies to even start to break through that mindset for people. Right? You don't even need that in this situation. Because this is not like we're told this is his character. Right? We are told that this is his character. And it still wasn't taken seriously.
What is, bro, Mango, give Mango water. Look at this motherfucker.
I gave him the beer.
Yep. Let him know, bro. Let him know.
Like, again, I have to keep going back to this room that I remind you is filled with cameras. This small room that is filled with cameras, that he's standing on a chair in clear view of everybody.
Dude,
can we zoom in on that?
Stan is the worst person.
No.
Like, and I haven't even talked about Mango himself, like, in what he tries to glean from this, right? Like, people are saying that, like, oh, you know, so I knew Mango for this amount of time, and, you know, he has a problem with alcohol, but, like, he didn't act like this or whatever. He never did stuff like this or whatever. But, like, he's very clearly targeting women. That's not like, that's very clear. Right? Yeah, he got, like, kind of touchy with Ludwig, and someone said that he did it to Zoila as well, which again I haven't seen. So if someone can find me that, I'll take a look at it. But like, this is very clear targeted at women in numerous instances of him humping either in the vicinity of women, directly on women, right, around women. Like that's something we haven't even covered yet. So yeah, we're talking about like, oh, Mango gets drunk, Mango is drinking or whatever. But he bro is very clearly targeting women.
I've seen Mango.
And he's not even he's getting like, and the problem is he's being rewarded for this behavior, by the way. He's being rewarded for this behavior. Other people are drinking and not harassing women. Yeah. Like he's if none of this came out and blew up in this way, right? He would have been heavily featured in a Ludwig video, right? He got featured on like 6 or 7 different streams, right? And Mango was positioned as like this fun-loving guy, right? Who was just a little bit kind of rowdy and stuff.
Ten times drunker than this. That's right.
That is
Oh yeah,
true.
he hasn't
That
peaked
is
yet.
very true.
This isn't Pete.
No. This is like stage 2.
Honestly, this is sober.
He's not fighting anyone.
He's trying to fight me.
No, it's different.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
He's trying to fight me.
We're in
What is, bro?
It's so gross. It's so gross. And like, I'm not gonna try to claim to speak for women, right? But from what I've heard, right? From what I heard, like women are expected to be okay with it. You can't not be okay with this, right? Imagine. You are a woman in the streaming landscape, right? The repeated statement of turn on the stream makes it very obvious what he meant to. Oh yeah, with the Emily clip, we'll get back to that in a second. She had to put her foot down about Minx. Ludwig can't do the same. This is an interesting take. You wanna know why? It doesn't seem like Ludwig can do the same. And where like Ludwig is like, yeah, we just won't have Mango back anymore. He's not saying that like, you know, I'm not gonna hang around Mango, right? He's not saying me and Mango are no longer friends. Right? He's just saying, I probably won't invite Mango to any on-stream events anymore. Right? Not even M-word, right? It's not even men. Right? It's this persona that Ludwig has crafted of passivity, right? Of brand safetiness, if you will. Ludwig has sort of built this like brand of not involving himself in drama, right? And calling people out specifically, and being this like outside observer and just being like, I don't like the drama of it. I just like want to have fun events and do stuff like that, right? And when that is your mindset, inevitably when your mindset is based on fence sitting, when that is your entire thing, then when it comes to like actual like meaningful harm, right? But Cutie isn't known for drama either. The difference is it's like Cutie isn't known for drama, but Ludwig is known for like being anti-drama or like not in drama or like brand safe, squeaky clean, golden retriever, golden boy of Twitch status. Right? Like that's the difference. Is that level of like passivity and not wanting to be the bad guy, wanting to be liked by sort of everybody. I think Cutie understands that she's not liked by everybody. And so she's fine with and okay with like calling out Minx and being like, you're not being invited back and like, you know, responding to Minx. But like with Ludwig, he can't do that because that's his brand. His brand is, you know, golden retriever boy status thing. That's something I've been upset about in the streaming space, is how completely incapable any of them seem to have with issues of housekeeping. Cutie's the only person I know who's able to make sure the space is safe with, for everyone inside of it. Even then, again, this isn't a conversation about Cutie, but like, even then, like, Aiden Ross was invited to the Streamer Awards. Like, this isn't like a unique thing to Ludwig, right? This is a problem with the industry as it is. Is that, you know, to a certain degree, you are, as a streamer, allow certain shit to fly when like it shouldn't fly in the first place. You know? It's not a one-to-one conversation, because like this is like direct sexual harassment happening at Ludwig's event. But like outside of a very, I don't know, say just like once you reach a certain level of notoriety as a streamer, it becomes antithetical to your career, right? It becomes detrimental to your career to like call out this behavior, even if you disagree with it, right? It just is. People immediately thinking, why didn't Cutie speak up instead of all these men is the patriarchy expecting women to always clean up the mess for them? I don't think that's what people are saying. Nobody is saying that Cutie needs to speak up. People are saying that Cutie did speak up with Minx. Why can't Ludwig do the same for Mango? Are people saying that? I don't think so. Cheddar's confused. I think Cheddar just misunderstood a little bit, and it's fine. Makes sense. I didn't see the Minx part. No, you're good, Cheddar. I do agree with you that like if people were expecting Cutie to speak up, like to say something ahead of like all the men involved, I would 100% be on your side, right? It was just a little miscommunication. It's fine. I appreciate you having this conversation, because many people will not address it directly and within the context of the patriarchy. I mean, it's just the case, right? Because nobody wants to be the bad guy. That's kind of the roots thing here. Nobody wants to be the bad guy. This is why DDG and Kai called Hassan a snitch at one time. There's a don't look at the bag and don't rock the boat mentality. Wait, they called Hassan a snitch? But yeah, essentially. What did Hassan snitch? I don't remember. I said we heard about Iran striking U.S. forces in Qatar. We'll get to that in a second. But like, I mean, that's a war. That's the question that I have is, did anybody die? Right? Did they kill anybody? We finished Slime's response. We did. Wasn't Son called a snitch because he pointed out that Aiden gifted Trump a watch? I don't remember. Was it that, or was Kai covering for his friends raping someone at his party? Was it that? I don't know. They called Hassan a snitch for talking about the Aiden Ross donation Trump thing. Oh. You know who it was that said Alex Farah for Senna saying he's trying to fight me in regards to Mango helping the chair? That person is Horde as well. I think that was Stans. Also, I just want to reiterate this part, right? Because like it's not like Maya didn't say no. You know what I mean? Or didn't express discomfort with this.
hand. No,
Right
no.
here.
Mango on the other hand. No. He's humping toes. No.
End
Like-
the stream. End it.
He's saying like end the stream. Like what? It like. He did it twice. He did it multiple times. Again, there's like six separate instances where he's like going around to different people, mostly women, humping them, humping around them, humping behind them, right? Humping next to them, and then moving on to the next target to do it again. In the stream, so TOS stuff can happen. It's just, it's in the stream feels like he's making a conversation because he knows she's uncomfortable and trying to fill the silence discomfort that he created. He did it with the cardboard one. I think he might have said end the stream, although I can't remember. It's just, it's so gross. It's so gross. It's so, I don't know. What more is there to say? See a clip of him repeatedly hitting Emily in the head. You're talking about this clip? Like, okay, this is weird as well. Like, I don't want to get like too deep into this, right? But like,
Emily, stop it.
like that's your girlfriend, dude. It's like, it's just, it's so weird. Oh, this clip continues. I know this clip continued.
I'm down.
Emily?
Hi, babe.
We never speak poorly when you've spoken for women. I don't mind when you speak for us. I try not to speak for women. I want to.
NP Sharky gifted a tier 1 sub to NASA 250.
I want to speak from
They have given
my
360
perspective,
gift subs in the channel.
saying things to defend what I think is wrong in general, right? And like in this case, it comes across as like I speaking on the behest of women, but like I try not to like take that space, personally. I know I also don't speak for all women. As a woman, I've never felt weird about it.
Here because we got drinks and it's easy to set up.
I'm down.
Emily?
Hi, babe.
Like he just starts touching her hair, bro. It's so, ugh. I don't like it. 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 It's so gross. It's so gross. It's so gross.
Guys,
I want to beat this bitch up.
Don't beat her ass
you
up,
guys
bro.
are amazing.
I won't let him beat you up.
Thank you, Lud. That was so fun. Thank you for having me.
Hey,
Boink,
thank you for
boink,
competing.
boink. I didn't ask.
What's your final?
Okay, this is significantly worse than I thought it was. People were using this as like justification to being like, oh, Ludwig stepped in, right? And more, he like memed being like, no, stop, I'll protect you, Emily. And then he just lets him do it.
Final placing.
I
Is
got
that the beginning
second
of the minute?
in the worst cup.
In the silver cup.
Red shells.
That's not bad.
What the hell is that?
That's not bad.
Right?
Borderlands sponsor actually good?
What?
Was that Borderlands sponsor good?
It was fun. I was loving it. I love Borderlands 4.
I love to hear that.
But this was the best day ever. 10-hour stream.
Woman's hair. It's
Oh, great. Voluminous.
She only watched that shit once a month.
Yes, I am.
Turns out we're staying here.
Okay,
We're
we'll
gonna do karaoke on this TV over here.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, I'll end soon.
Harassment, you lose infinite aura. She's giving attention to Ludwig and hopes the guy will get the memo. He comes back like 4 separate times. Right? And this is a moment where like you pull him aside being like, you gotta stop. Right? Or you take a step and you remove him from the space. You know? Because again, while this is happening, he's cycling through women. He's going to Emily here. He's, you know, going to Cinna over there. He's going to Cutie over there. He's going to Maya over here. Right? He's cycling through women. So to control himself for balance, yeah. It's just, we need to do better. We like genuinely, we as a space need to do better. We do. I don't know what more there is to say about that. Right? Because this doesn't stop at this singular instance. Right? The streaming landscape has a problem with allowing people to get away with shitty behavior. Right? Because they don't want to be seen as the person calling them out. Right? Somebody does something that is reprehensible and nobody wants to be the person who's like, hey, this is bad, this is wrong. Not even exclusive to this streaming, this is universal. Anywhere there are men, 100%, Brad, you are completely correct, right? I say it's this needs to change into space because we're in the streaming landscape, in the streaming space. But yeah, this is why I bring up this word that scares people. It's the freaking patriarchy, right? It's the patriarchy. Rape culture, to be honest, rape culture is a part of the patriarchy. But yeah. Right? This boys club frat bro culture is a part of the patriarchy. See if he could be trying to get a fat kid contract. No, I don't think he needs to. However, white men always fantasizing about saving people in the face with the opportunity to help they nosedive. To be fair, that's like a man fantasy thing. And this is the problem, is that like it would be very easy to be like, oh, you know, if there are people of color there, then they would be different, right? But like I can't even say that. Because right, men of color still reinforce the patriarchy. I wish I could say that. I wish I could say, you know, my community, we would step in and we would protect, right? There's no evidence that happens, by the way. There's just zero evidence that like that's the case. I wish it was, right? I wish it was different. Right? I wish it was different. Right? There are, and I will say this, there are men that would step in and say something. There are men that would put their foot down. Right? And like the goal is like, yeah, be the change. Be that person. Right? I am an agent of justice. I stopped getting invited to parties in college for that reason. Because I could posture and be like, same, I didn't go to parties in college. So, I think the solution is you need to be invited to every Ludwig event from now on. Like, even as a joke, like, you know what I mean? You know, I you know, it wouldn't freaking fix this issue. You feel me? Even if I was there and being like, "Oh, Mango, how dare you?" Like, it's impossible for a single person to combat the system of patriarchy. It's work that we all have to do, right? What did the chatter say? So we're blaming men like women don't do shit like this, and it's not frowned upon or talked about. Yes. You're right, I was just memeing. No, I understand you're memeing, but I want to make it a general concept. Case closed. Watching his live was crazy uncomfortable. Someone should definitely escorted him out. Before this, he was messing with Senna nonstop. He kept touching her hat, being a nuisance overall. Most of Emily's chat picked up on it too, calling out his behavior. Yeah, and the main issue is twofold. Is one, why did no men speak up on behalf of the women here? And two, this is Ludwig's event. Why did Ludwig allow it to happen? Or where did Ludwig fail in planning this event that allowed this to go on for as long as it did? Right? Because I think both of those things have right, positive future, you know, you can learn from those things. It's something that we can all learn learn from going forward into the future. She's been kicked out as soon as she started being creepy. He should have been spoken to, right? I'm not saying I'll kick him out immediately, you know what I mean? But like, he should have been taken aside, right? Number one, as the event organizer and as his friend, you should have taken him aside. You should have been like, you need to cut that out. You have him over there, right? And then you go talk to the women and you ask them if they're okay, right? And what they need from the situation. And if they are like, I don't feel comfortable being around him, then you kick him out, right? But then if they're like, you know, it's fine, I just felt uncomfortable by it, but it's cool. You go, you talk to him, you say, listen, you got a lifeline, right? You're on thin ice. Act accordingly. And the moment he starts being weird again, he's immediately gone. Right? And I don't know how Ludwig ran this event, but if he is the organizer of the event, he needs to stay sober, or he needs to have somebody trusted, right? He needs to have a trusted individual that he can refer to, right? That is sober, who can make these decisions with clear mind, right? Somebody needs to be the designated driver. Your staff with authority and no power imbalance. Yeah, you need somebody with a headset, right? And a walkie-talkie walking around that can make the call, right? Let's get him out of there. If you want to participate in the event, voice of Ludwig position. Yeah, 100%. That's the problem I was trying to say earlier. If Ludwig is planning on also drinking as the event organizer, he needs to assign someone to be that person who makes that call. 100%. Ludwig said the budget for this event is 1/5 its previous Beerio Kart events. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Some of that budget is allocated to that position so that this doesn't happen. Right? That is kind of the only person you need. You don't even need a bartender. You don't even really need like you don't need anything else except for that. Right? That is the one thing you need. Now I'm saying that's a problem and he should reconsider it. I'm in no way for abuse and assault. And I don't talk about this at all, not even for friends. I was rarely abused when I was a child by a boyfriend, and my mom got scary sometimes. And had to sleep in a car once or twice, and my nan was not abusive, but an alcoholic drinking all hours a day. Being around abuse, I feel like I've always had a protector's complex around friends and never drink still through uni and make sure all my women friends get home safe. I don't know what you were trying to add with that story. Maybe I'm confused. I appreciate your vulnerability. That was confusing. No, I think I'm just like I think I am confused. I don't think the chatter was being confused. I think I'm just confused. They're just venting. I think okay. I want to make sure that I wasn't missing like a message you were trying to say. The guy you didn't know was one of the bad clips was Cam, who edits for Ludwig. Used to go by Sendo and was friends and did content with Afghans. So Afghans turned out to be a sex pest. Men just need better be better judges of character. I like if you're like, dog, man, man, Afghans was sick. Now I'm gonna go hang out with Mango. She's the freaking wheeze. Much I don't think being sober would bring them clarity. Lud was sober in his after stream and didn't take responsibility for his own enabling of the situation. True, but I think having one person that is, I think sober is a characteristic of what Ludwig needed, not like specifically just that. He didn't need somebody who was sober. He needed somebody who was sober who could have made calls on his behalf to call that out, right? And he just didn't have that person. Either he didn't have people who were sober or he didn't have people who felt the call to call stuff like that out, you know? Or just send me a Discord channel link. See it on Friday. Oh, that was my things. Dogs? No, it was just my freaking, it was my thumbnail for today. We haven't even talked about either of these things, either Beyonce or Mr. Beast. Cause I'm old. What were you sending? Oh, it was the cake thing. I even feel wrong showing that. Cause I don't even wanna like. It feels weird. Beyonce is crazy. Listen, I don't go around calling black women crazy, but the situation is definitely wild. I do. That's crazy. I think I got my point across for the most part. I think I've said all that I needed to say or wanted to say about this Mango situation, unless there's something else that I missed. Right? We as the streaming landscape need to be better. Here, this is actually a good take as well. Part of the reason why Mango did what he did is because nobody checks him and they all laugh and call him the GOAT. I'm glad Ludwig stepped up and made the right decision. Apologies are good, but he needs a suspension. This is like about like the suspension from like the Smash community. I'm not in the Smash community, so I don't necessarily have a take on that. But like, yeah, he's enabled. Right? He's been enabled. Too long. Any final thoughts, chat? Thank you for having this discussion. These topics are really handled with proper sensitivity. Thank you for making space for this. I try. My conclusion is I think you should support the victims in whatever avenue that they choose. And I hope, like genuinely, I hope this message gets through to all of the men in that room in that you have a responsibility, right? And maybe it sucks. Maybe you don't want to have that responsibility. You have a responsibility when you are in this space, right? To say something, right? You have a responsibility to speak for people who feel like they can't, right? And all too often do women feel like they can't have a take. They can't express their discomfort with something, right? Because of how they'll be viewed by society at large. And understanding that and acknowledging that, right? And standing alongside them so that they don't even have to say something. They shouldn't have to say something, right? Especially with your friends, right? Your friends. This doesn't just stop at Mango and this being on stream. In your day-to-day life, with your friend group, right? Because there are a lot of rapists out there, right? And there are even more friends of rapists, and not everybody cannot know, right? Not everybody can be completely unaware. Right? Take a step out and stand for something. Right? And I don't expect anybody else to speak on this. Legitimately, I don't. Right? I don't expect anybody else to talk about this. I think they'll just let it rock and let it sit, quietly in the background. Hopefully it fizzles away. But I do hope this is a turning point for the people in that room, so that when this happens in the future, right, they'll be the person that steps up and be like, this isn't cool. That's my take. Because Ludwig spoke on it. Ludwig did speak on it. And it wasn't the greatest statement, but he did speak on it a little bit. I talked about what I would have wanted Ludwig to say earlier in this VOD. At the very least, we need to remember to point to this when, if and when it happens again, because not enough was said this time. Yeah. Also, okay, my final take. Delete the freaking mango pictures from Beerio Kart. Don't leave this shit up. What are we doing here? Right? Delete your tweet talking about, met a lot of cool people last night. I had a great time. Big shout out for Ludwig for inviting me to awesome events. Right? You can't say that while completely not acknowledging the elephant in the room. Just like the victims, for the victims, if nothing else, is not making fun of them to look at that. That's just, yeah, I won. Sorry about that, ladies. Yeah. mean, deleting it would be pretending it didn't happen, trying to hide what they did, but at least they speak up and notice it was wrong. No, I think you should delete the picture you have being like, "Oh, Mango, my goat." No, I think you should delete the picture, and I think you should make a statement about what happened, right? Because the truth is, one, I don't believe nobody in that room didn't know what was going on, right? And two, you didn't speak up about it. So at the very least, you let it happen. You let somebody who was walking around sexually harassing people walk around and sexually harass people. So I'm wondering how the women spoke out about it. Not that they have to, just wondering. I don't think so. They knew and willingly ignored it. Yeah. That's it. That's my take on that. I know. And I wanna end this by saying that I like a lot of the streamers that were at this event. I watch a lot of the streamers. Right? The picture you guys put the comments should keep them if you're comfortable making it at the time. Shouldn't you let them shouldn't just delete them and pretend like you didn't post it? So, sorry if it seems like I'm gonna get your take. I fully agree with the sentiment. Not to be a dick, but are Slime and Nick straight edge? In what way? Like sober? Oh. I've never heard that. I'm a zoomer. Slime wasn't there. Nick was sober. Doesn't drink or do drugs? Oh. It's like me. Oh, gee, I'm a zoomer too. Also, apparently Maya's a zoomer. Zillennial, true. And Maya and I are the same age. Old. Okay, not old. I think you're a normal age, Shatter. Straight edge isn't really a generation thing. It's from the punk scene thing. 27. Old. Yeah. Here, as a transition topic, because we moving from something heavy to something less heavy, like World War III. Woo! Something that I saw that was pretty funny is, to be honest, I thought Maya was older because she hangs out with Cutie and Hassan. True. But I would never call Maya old. Who was ducking the draft age, or who was just duck the draft age. They should make it so that everybody gets drafted, just to get it, just to come at you, you know. Okay, what's best for the Persian mountain range? Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy? Anyway, remember this tweet that I made a few days ago, chat? Did I miss Kamala demonstrating that she, one, didn't want a war with Iran, and two, wouldn't do everything to support the genocide state of Israel? Where are you getting this from? Got 17,000 likes, by the way. Pretty solid. But something that's been happening recently is people would be responding with almost exactly this. She did both of those. Hope this helps. Right? But like they never say where. This happened 2 separate times. Hope this helps. Heart, heart. I'm like, enlighten me. They didn't respond to me. Where and when? Didn't respond to this either. Did she post this? And then they say, funny seeing Twitter leftists try to cleanse their guilty conscience. But like, doesn't respond with where she did this. Right? But also somebody else did it as well. Where's it at? Yeah. Here. Yep, you missed this. Hope that helps. And I say, enlighten me. No response. Crickets. People are saying she did it, but I'm like, show me. I'm totally down to have my mind changed. But like, for some reason, they never seem to respond to me for some reason. I don't know. Is that sarcasm or am I that dumb? No, it's not sarcasm. I posted this clip and like probably like 10 people and 0 of them responded. Yeah. Britt also posted this clip as well. No, you didn't. No, you remember it exactly as it happened. She was asked directly and refused to say what. She wouldn't do this. Yeah. Again, would Kamala have done this? I have no clue. Why? Because you didn't freaking tell me if she would or not. She was like, I plead the fifth. They go dead silent because they're wrong. They're incorrect. Anyway, that's just a small little update. Here, where's... Here, we'll start with this.
We are back with the Fox News alert. U.S. military
This was 17 hours ago.
bases in the Middle East remain vigilant after Iran threatened to retaliate after yesterday's strikes, which hit 3 of the country's nuclear facilities. The attack was the largest B-2 operational strike in U.S. history, utilizing 7 of the stealth bombers and more than 125 other U.S. military aircraft, according to the Pentagon. In total, the U.S. employed approximately 75 precision-guided weapons, including 14 of the 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs and over 24 Tomahawk cruise missiles launched from a U.S. submarine. Lucas Tomlinson is live at the Pentagon with the latest. Lucas, what new information do you have for us tonight?
Well, good evening, Katie. Where did those other 31 bombs and missiles come from? They came from U.S. military fighter jets, which were the first into Iran ahead of the B-2 strike to launch this operation. Here was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raising Cane.
Raising Canes?
The U.S.
Man, they have some decent chicken tenders. I'm hungry, bro. I didn't even make my breakfast this morning. I was too busy making a thumbnail for my YouTube video. I didn't even get a chance to make my breakfast. My brekkie.
Employed several deception tactics, including decoys, as the 4th and 5th generation aircraft pushed out in front of the strike package at high altitude and high speed, sweeping in front of the package for enemy.
They started delivering to my house on DoorDash, and is a problem? No, they don't deliver on DoorDash. You're lying. You're lying. They do not deliver on DoorDash.
Fighters and surface-to-air missile threats.
They do on mine? I'm checking. I'm checking right now.
Now, this mission began with deception. 9 B-2 stealth bombers took off from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri.
Wait. We're only 50 subs away from 1,400, chat? Hey. If y'all want to do the thing, you can do the thing, by the way. I'm pretty freaking close.
Just after midnight early Saturday, 2 flew west over the Pacific to act as...
Valkyron, thank you for the Prime subscription. Much appreciated.
decoys. But but 7 of those B-2s did not fly west. They flew quietly to the east, not squawking with minimal communication. Their destination, Iran's underground nuclear facilities, of course. The B-2s entered Iranian airspace at 6 p.m. Eastern. 40 minutes later, those B-2s dropped.
I was searching up Raising Cane's on Grubhub. It doesn't exist. It's not a thing. Cadenza, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Much appreciated. Sunset Shervers, thank you for the prime. What are the rules on the draft? Do I have to serve if I'm gay still? Yes, you do. Don't worry, chat. We have my video about the rules on the draft coming out tomorrow. You can watch it tomorrow morning. Yes, if you're gay, you still have to serve. You can't get out kissing a man in the draft line. Not anymore. Right? But what we did learn is that you can be very extremely religious, right? And potentially maybe get a non-combat role. Right? So pick your poison, chat.
Those 14 massive bunker-busting bombs, 12 hit the underground uranium enrichment site in Fordo, 2 struck Natanz. And at the same time, those 15...
Oh, anyway, this is out of date, by the way, because apparently Iran struck... U.S. military base in Qatar. Qatar. Wait, is this live? It might have been a strike. I've been keeping up. Honestly, what kind of strike it is doesn't really matter, because the U.S. is going to take it as if it's the worst.
And there have been...
The U.S. is going to act like they've killed 1 million people, regardless of what the strike actually did. You know what I mean?
No reports of casualties. So
no reports of casualties.
If this is a response that had to be taken, but that was very limited so as not to lead to more escalation, it would seem that it would be hard to imagine designing it for anything other than to maybe de-escalate and return to the negotiating table. What do you think about my, what is admittedly speculation there?
Well, I will focus instead on the fact that we really just don't know at this point.
So it's kind of like, so what he's describing is like, it's kind of like slap boxing, chat. You ever been in high school and you're slap boxing in the bathroom? You got 30 seconds of slap boxing and the timer goes off and the dude hits you after the timer went off. And you're like, whoa, you hit me after the timer went off. It's not fair. I got to hit you back. Right? But you don't want to start a whole new fight. And so you just like give him a little light tap, kind of like that. You know? That's what he's describing.
This was an isolated instance.
That was slap boxing. You know what slap boxing is? Officials are saying Iran told Qatar and Qatar was involved in the strike. It was symbolic. It's like how Iran fired on Israel for the first time. Like symbolic as in like test the capabilities, or symbolic as in like, as we're describing it here, as like a de-escalation tactic. Be like, look, we struck you because you struck us, but let's renegotiate here.
I think the biggest vulnerability here is for American citizens traveling overseas in locations where we just don't have a lot of assets, where proxies could be activated. That's one risk that will continue to follow, John.
Okay, Sam Vinograd, thank you very much. Let's go back to senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata from the Pentagon. Just to reset for our viewers who are joining us, we have been reporting on Iranian missile attacks on the U.S. airbase or the U.S. base, I should say, in Qatar, the Al Udeid base in Qatar at the moment. That is the only place we have reports of action. No casualties reported, and apparently the missile defense systems have intercepted whatever missiles were sent there. Charlie, let's go to you. Your thoughts.
Well, first of all, we have a U.S. official confirms, this is in the CENTCOM region, confirms Iranian short and medium range missiles targeted the Al Udeid air base. No casualties reported at this time. This is obviously after the Qataris themselves had said that they had come under attack. That happened about 50 minutes ago when we first heard word about it. Just to give you, again, a broad picture there. It's Al Udeid is the largest base. It's where Central Command is based. It's the headquarters there. There are 9,000 U.S. forces. In addition to that base, the biggest base in the Middle East for U.S. forces, Bahrain is the home of the Fifth Fleet. That has had sirens going off and shelter-in-place warnings for the residents there, although there haven't been any incoming. Kuwait is also on high alert, another big base there. There were reports that the Al-Assad base in Iraq had come under attack, but both the Iraqis and others have said those reports are erroneous. But everybody is on high alert throughout that whole Central Command area because of what they're seeing here, not necessarily because there is a threat that's headed in their direction.
Sure, only prudent. Charlie Daggett
a possible blockade on the Gulf by Iran.
Joining us by phone is...
I mean, hasn't it been possible blockade for the last 2 days?
Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan. Margaret, the latest you've been hearing, and also just as you've been evaluating this strike and what your reporting tells you about how we should think about the diplomatic conditions here and how they've changed, is there an opportunity here for the diplomacy to rush in? And if so, what is that opportunity?
Well, John, I've been trying to get hold of U.S. officials to better understand, the thinking in the White House right now. The message has been ready for diplomacy.
Oh, okay. You can't get Raising Cane's delivered through DoorDash. It must be through Grubhub. It must be through DoorDash. Boo.
Any time. I was told by Secretary Rubio just yesterday that Steve Witkoff, the president's personal envoy, is on a 12-hour standby to get on a plane to meet with Iranian officials at any time should they say it's a go. We don't have any.
I think this is the first step to blocking the strait. Striking the U.S. base. I don't think they're unrelated, but I don't think it's a necessary step to blocking the strait specifically.
Sign that it is a go at this moment in time. But what we are seeing,
it's very hard to tell, like, if this is done or if the strike was very limited because Iran has limited capacity, right? And they're like running out of munitions, or if they're actually doing symbolic strikes. Because it's the same thing with like Israel as well. Is that like, didn't they shoot like one missile at Israel like yesterday, just a single one during that strike? Yes. That was a Yemeni missile? I was lied to.
Is very much within the realm of anticipated risk, anticipated threat. And in fact, when this kind of intelligence is picked up, either through satellite, through signals intelligence, whatever the source of it is, the U.S. government prepares internally. Legally, they're also required to notify the public that there is risk. The first notice we got of this, we saw via the State Department telling people in Qatar to shelter in place if you're American. A few hours earlier, they issued a warning worldwide to Americans everywhere that there is an increased level of risk to Americans. That they are legally compelled to do.
I wonder why. Man, oh man, I wonder why that's the case. Must be nothing.
They are telling their own U.S. officials to prepare for something. And it doesn't necessarily mean it has to do with specific threat intelligence, but that because of what the United States did, enter this war that Israel has been waging against Iran and Iran hitting it back, the United States is now a player, not just because we are the biggest provider of arms and weaponry and defenses to Israel, but because now it is our planes that have gone in there and done such a high-profile attack against the crown jewels of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and the clerics that run that country, who have invested hundreds of billions of dollars in this program that they claimed was not a weapon, despite credible evidence suggesting otherwise, that they went beyond the civilian intention of it that they said it was for. They have now been decimated, and that the airspace over Iran, they don't own. They are in a place where anyone gaming this out said Iran has to do something, they can't do nothing. Now, does this get it out of the way and clear the deck for the diplomatic opportunity you're talking about? We have to wait and see, but certainly we don't know what that means at this point. Secretary Rubio just yesterday kept emphasizing again and again they want to talk this out and come to a settlement with Iran, but at the same time talked about how horrifically, how horrific the regime running the country is. So offering a lifeline for that regime to stay in power, it seems also to be a point of debate within the administration, because hours after we were told by the Secretary of Defense and Secretary of State that the U.S. was not seeking regime change, the president put out a social media post joking about it.
Right. Margaret,
Of course he did.
That point.
Of course he did, bro.
About the worldwide threat that has gone out now, even though it's automatic, it does give us a sense of the landscape.
Okay,
military bases.
Honestly, it feels like this feels like not a nothing burger, but like it feels like they don't have anything, so they're just replaying the same footage, being like, "Well, this really didn't do anything. It was kind of symbolic," and that was kind of it.
Already been on high alert, and Qatar in particular had been on.
But they have to ham it up because the media is built on sensationalism. But they have to be like, "Oh, but like it's still super unsafe for Americans out here." By the way.
On high alert with the airspace closed shortly before this attack.
You
And
never seen
American
a
and
free
British
world in our lifetime? Nah, bro. Pandora's box has been open. Can't put the box back.
citizens told to shelter in place. So they were prepared for something. It is over. Seems that there are no casualties, according to both the Qataris and the Pentagon. And as you were talking earlier to General Barry McCaffrey, who's been in these situations before as a four-star retired American general, these troops are not there as sitting ducks. They are not hostages. They are there to be CENTCOM's forward operating position. They are there to carry out strikes against Iran. And Iran is saying it responded in a legitimate way, and perhaps this could open up a door for negotiations. That is what Qatar says it would like to see. Now we will see if President Trump agrees.
Richard Engel reporting for us from Tel Aviv tonight. Richard, we thank you. I'm going to go back to Gabe Gutierrez to check in with the White House, and as the president monitors all of this. Gabe, as you reported, one of the first things you reported, we were expecting to hear from the president at some point today, possibly. Do we think the schedule has changed? Do you think he'll make any type of statements about what's just occurred?
But what could he say? It's either he strikes back or he goes back to the negotiating table. But to be fair, Trump did say that if you strike at a U.S. base, they will go like 10 times harder. So I could definitely see Trump escalating even off of the symbolic attack that killed 0 people. Right? That did virtually nothing. He's he's doing this basically.
You're making us do. If you had just taken the deal that clearly benefits us.
Like he's doing this, and then Iran is like, boom, a little baby slap, and then he just shoots you. That's it. That's what's happening here. That's what Trump is talking about. Like he's just beating the bricks off of you, and then you like slap him back and be like, stop, or like you push him away. Like, get off me. He's like, and he just starts shooting you. We'll finish the video in a second. I want to go back to this, though.
Night overseas in Qatar.
Well, that remains to be seen, Tom. Certainly, the president, not shy in front of cameras, likes to address the American public when he can in these types of situations. Now, what we had been expecting
because Americans want justification to escalate, but also they'll force one regardless. Iran has to do what they have to do for domestic response more than American responses.
security meeting in the Oval Office that had not been opened up to press, but as sometimes is the case in those situations, the president does bring cameras in. Right now, we are trying to reach White House officials to see if there has been any change to the schedule. We have no indication of that yet. As far as we know, the president and his top national security staff are still in the Situation Room monitoring all this. But picking up on where Richard left off, if there was an attack where the missiles were intercepted, no U.S. casualties, certainly that will be seen as very good news from the White House. And then probably what they're also discussing now is what, if anything, will they do to retaliate, or will this perhaps be an opening for some sort of peace talks with the Iranian government, something that the White House had been calling for, but seemed increasingly unlikely in the aftermath of those U.S. airstrikes in Iran. So again, the latest here from the White House, Tom, we have not received word if the president plans to address the American people. As far as we know, he is still in the Situation Room monitoring all this with his national security staff.
All right, our Gabe Gutierrez reporting from the White House. If you've been tuning in, we have been following the developments out of Iran and Qatar. Iran launching a retaliation strike over the U.S.'s strike on their nuclear sites over the weekend. From what we know right now from 2 U.S. officials, the Al Udeid base there in Qatar was targeted as the largest U.S. military installation in the Middle East. Up to 5,000 American service members working there, civilians and soldiers alike, all members of the U.S. forces there. From what we're hearing from the U.S. officials, short-range and medium-range missiles were fired at the base, but they were intercepted by air defense systems. So far, no reports of any casualties. So far, no reports of any injuries. Iran has put out statements through their state media alerting their own people that this attack has happened.
I'm in trouble
So
when I
far,
look weak, and not taking Iran as being attacked seems like his MO. And not attacking Iran after being attacked seems like his MO. So you're saying he is going to attack Iran?
far after that, no other missiles have been launched. Bahrain and the UAE
Yes, okay.
also closing
I agree
their
with you.
airspace. That's going to conclude this NBC News special report, but we are going to be back as events warrant. We'll have much more ahead on our
Bro, even
streaming
NBC
network,
News was like,
on
okay,
NBC
that's it. We're done.
News now, online at
Thanks, bro.
NBCnews.com, and a full wrap-up tonight on Nightly News when I see you.
Hey everyone, I'm Zinklea Samwan. My co-anchor Kate Snow is off today in NBC News Daily, hearing from countries in the region.
Well, we don't know exactly how many missiles the Iranians fired. It sounds like it was only a couple, but the Iranians said in a statement that they had fired the same number of missiles that the U.S. fired at them when they struck those 3 uranium enrichment installations in Iran just about 2 days ago. So that would be about 75 precision-guided missiles. That's what the U.S. used against Iran. Among them, 14 of those GBU-57 bunker buster bombs, the
This blots
massive
out any
ordnance
news coverage of the
penetrators.
genocide, right? That's why Israel
It doesn't
did
sound as
stuff
though
after the
Iran
strikes.
used that or wielded that against
That implies that Israel needs to do that to keep the genocide out of the news, right? I think that's a part of it, but they don't really need to. They have, like, you know, freaking blank check to do whatever they want to, essentially. So they don't necessarily need distractions. But I think a part of it is that, like, I think it's more of a play, less from Israel and from Netanyahu specifically, to hold on to power. Because, again, pulling America into war and pulling American weaponry means that he can hold on to power, and elections don't have to happen in Israel, which means he doesn't have to lose power, right? And so I think it's more of a power play from Netanyahu to maintain his current power, as opposed to, like, distracting from the genocide that they already have license to commit. You know? More of a domestic play, yeah. They did the mercenaries and aid camps when Israel was on the focus of new, my bad. No, you're good. I think you're not incorrect in that Israel does tend to, like they struck Lebanon, right? They did the Patriot terrorist attack in South Lebanon while they were ramping up the efforts of the genocide as well, right? For the same reason. Like, they do things internationally to either garner support and pull America further into Israel's affairs. Being like, oh, see, look, now they're like, look, freaking Hezbollah is striking us. We need more weapons now. They do that when they're running out of munitions, or when they want more American weaponry. Or when Netanyahu wants to hold on to power. It's been pretty consistent. He just starts doing shit when he wants to hold on to power.
Base, the Al Udeid base in Qatar just a couple of moments ago. We do know that they fired at Qatar. The Qatari authorities said that no one was injured. They swatted them out of the sky, at least one of those missiles, before they struck anything. And we know that so far it was just Qatar, even though there was reports that airspaces had closed over Bahrain, the Emirates, and Iraq. And we also know from reporting in the New York Times that it sounds as though the Iranians warned the Qataris ahead of their reprisal attack. That would follow a similar pattern to what we saw back in 2020 when the administration of Donald Trump assassinated Qasem Soleimani. He was the head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Quds Force, the force in charge of the different Iranian proxies throughout the region. There was a reprisal attack then, but it looked like, just like now, it was a face-saving maneuver to allow everybody to step back from the brink of all-out war.
Matt, thank you. Monica, I want to bring you in here.
Yeah,
we mentioned that President Trump is meeting with his national security team. What are you hearing from White House officials about this?
Yeah, we know, Zinclay, that
but the question is, like, will Trump actually step back and come to the negotiating table? And I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know. My fear is the administration got validation from their party and some of their bases for the Moab strikes. Now they're going to unload heavy. It'll be a massive blunder if he doesn't step back, in my opinion. Trump doesn't care about blunders, though. He cares about looking strong. And he did say that, like, if you strike us, we're going to come back at you tenfold. So, tenfold of what they did originally. So, if somebody in Trump's camp brings that up, I could see Trump pushing for further strikes to just seem strong. If someone was like, "Hey, Trump, you said you would strike them back tenfold. Why ain't you doing that?" He'd be like, "I ain't pussy. Yeah, strike them back tenfold. Why not?" That's my, I can see that happening. He avoids blunders that make him look bad, like with the tariffs. No, not really. He pushed the tariff to the absolute brink. Right? To the absolute brink. Until he finally stepped back. Right? And I don't know if this is that. Right? Because it's not about like what actually makes him look weak. It's about whoever is in front of him at that exact moment telling him he looks weak. Right? There were people in his cabinet saying, "President Trump, the tariffs make you look weak." He's like, or the price increase because the tariffs make you look weak. He's like, "Okay, roll it back. You know, we'll do a deal or something." Right? So the question is, are the people that Trump's surrounding himself with going to tell him that like it's going to be good to go to the negotiating table with Iran? Or are they disgusting warmongering, genocidal maniacs, right? Who are like, "Mr. President, you'll look weak if you stop now." And I don't know. It's very hard to tell what voice is in front of Trump at any given time. And there's definitely more voices in front of Trump right now who want war with Iran, right? They want regime change. Iran doesn't want regime change. Iran wants America to come back to the table and to have a conversation and Israel to chill the fuck out, right? They don't want regime change, but America does want regime change. And so it's very hard to tell what is actually going to happen here. People around him think of Iran as a pawn between the US and China. Trump is like water. He'll just flow whatever easy direction. Stepping down will require some amount of strength of will, which he doesn't have. History shows that it will take a lot of presidents to step away from a quagmire like this. It's almost 100% Trump would not cease hostility with Iran. I can see that. But yeah, it's very hard to know. Because I could also see Trump just being like, "Who cares? Whatever." Right? If he thinks it makes him look bad to continue to check Iran. Like Trump, I think Trump sees the memes. He sees the anti-World War III memes. He's like, I'm not fighting for Israel. right? He sees Marjorie Taylor Greene being like, I'm anti-war. And he's like, ugh, maybe this makes me look kind of bad. You know? I would look strong if I save the country for World War III. Right? It's literally only down to how it's framed to Trump. If somebody is framing this to Trump as like, this is going to be World War III, and you will look like freaking, the peaceful dove, you get a Nobel Peace Prize if you stop World War III. Right? I can definitely see him being like, okay, we're stepping back. I'm the peaceful dove. But if the person in front of him is like, Mr. President, you need to strike Iran. We need a regime change now. Right? we need regime change now. Like, he would do that as well. It's almost impossible to know what freaking Trump will do. Cause like, it's about whoever's in his ear yapping to him.
For the 1 p.m. hour with his national security advisors, of course, to continue to discuss everything that has been going on since the U.S. did drop those bombs on the Iranian nuclear sites on Saturday. But that was quickly moved to the Situation Room and started a bit earlier in earnest because of this ongoing situation that I'm told these officials, along with the president, were all monitoring in real time. They did see that threat that was posed specifically to the base in Qatar that you were just discussing, but they were also following this possibility. And we knew that there were heightened, really alert statuses for many of these U.S. bases when we're talking about also potentially in Iraq, potentially in Bahrain, potentially even in Syria or the UAE. And now those are unconfirmed reports about there being actually anything launched into those or targeting U.S. bases there. But we know that, of course, this is something that was expected as a possibility, that there would be some kind of Iranian retaliation. So the president monitoring all of that. And I'm told as of just a few minutes ago, he was still huddling with those advisors, and he doesn't have anything else on his schedule today. So it's unclear whether we will hear from him or from the White House. But I was told, at least by one of the officials, that they're still just monitoring everything here before they can tell us a bit more. But it does come, again, not as a necessary surprise to officials here who were bracing for some kind of retaliation, specifically in the first 48 hours after those bombs were dropped in Iran. Clay.
Monica, thank you. Courtney, let's bring you in now. Can you give us some background on this air base in Qatar? As we mentioned, right now, no casualties known. But what is the Pentagon saying about this attack and its effectiveness?
Yeah, so defense officials are saying that the base was targeted by short and medium-range ballistic missiles that were fired from Iran. At this point, as we've been hearing, there are no reports of casualties. The belief is that they were all intercepted. Remember, this is a sprawling, large base in Qatar. Now, it's actually a Qatari base, but the U.S. military has thousands of personnel, about 5,000 people there at any given time, many aircraft, fighter squadrons, and they also have a pretty substantial air defense system there. That gets to the second part of your question there, Clay, the significance of this base. Now, this base has been the hub of all U.S. military air operations in the Middle East for years. In fact, there's something there known as the CAOC, the Combined Air Operations Center. It's where all air operations for the region are run. Candidly, the operation into Iran over the weekend was likely monitored out of that same base, out of that same CAOC there. And it's not just that. They have flown every kind of aircraft there, out of there over the years, into hostile environments all throughout the region. So it's been a critical hub for air operations for years. It's not surprising that it would be a target. What is surprising, though, is the relationship between the Qataris and the Iranians. The U.S. often uses the Qataris as an intermediary to pass messages to the Iranians.
Okay. I don't know if there's going to be anything new with this. I don't think there will be any casualties. I think the strike is done, clearly. And where this goes from, where this goes from here is, kind of like who knows. If I had to guess, it's so hard. It's literally a coin flip. It's 50-50. Does Trump back down and come back to the table, or does he strike again? It's whoever's in his ear that day, and so it's almost impossible to tell. No, I'll say he will strike again. He will strike again. That's what I'll say. That's my take. Um, or what is this? This
board. Is that a pun? Above one, it says on. That's a pun, isn't it? And on, and then you're seeing the levels on the main screen on in the black magic board.
do they know that this is I think they were testing for whatever comes next here. But like, I don't know if we're supposed to be seeing this. Anyway, I know we didn't talk about Beyonce, and we didn't talk about Mr. Beast. What did Beyonce do? Brief overview. Beyonce was just being stupid. She basically just being like, she released some merch being like, black people never get the respect they deserve. Which is, you're like, okay. True, okay. I can see that. And they're like, yeah, we killed all the Indians too. And we're just like, what? Yeah, black people helped kill those savage Native Americans. You're just like, what are you saying? Why would you put that on a shirt? Why would you put that on a shirt? Where's it at? Here, this is the this is the this is I think Peace Tribe's take. Beyonce did is called the Native Americans who were indigenous to this land enemies of peace for defending their homeland against colonizers. Like, I'm sorry, but she's never beating the American propagandist allegations. Yeah. Beyonce wearing a Buffalo Soldiers shirt and American Army unit that comprised exclusively of African Americans that helped European and white American colonists fight back against Native Americans and seize control of their land is not the serve she thinks it is. Like, why?
Bruh, Beyonce supporting genociders just because they are black? I wish I could say I was surprised. I'm gonna need all the motherfuckers who said Beyonce's American propaganda was subversive to come to the front.
To be fair, anybody who said that was stupid in the first place. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Anybody who said that was dumb in the first place. We're talking about freaking billionaire Beyonce. Billionaire Beyonce. Y'all thought that when she was waving the American flag, she meant it as like to subvert what it meant. Like, it wasn't flowing upside down. She was flying that flag. And to be fair, again, I think there's a level of nuance here. There is truth to the idea that Black Americans have not gotten the respect they deserve, right? For turning this country into what it is, right? This is true. It was built off of the back of the labor of Black Americans. And I could understand why some Black Americans would want to reclaim the American flag. I've always been like against reclaiming the American flag. I understand why people want it. It's impossible to do, right? Because we don't have ownership over it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't reclaim the American flag when it's currently Like you don't own it. You know? Pan-African flag is better, to be honest, a lot of better flags. But I understand, like, being like, yeah, we built this country, so this country's ours. This flag is actually ours. Right? I understand where that comes from. But it kind of falls flat when you start being like, yeah, and we worked alongside the colonizers too. Right? To stand against those savages. You know, like that's a different conversation. That's a totally different situation. Now you're not like Black Americans are not getting the respect we deserve. You're like, Black Americans are, we're also colonizers too, right? Let's just die and make a new American flag without all the genocide, racism, and capitalism. You're not understanding, chatter. Like again, I'm not for reclaiming the American flag, right? But I understand, especially in a state where like Black people built America. That statement is true, right? I can understand why people feel as though they want to take ownership over it. Right? Like, I understand that. But the problem with that is not the fact that you want to reclaim the American flag. The problem is that you're not reclaiming the American flag because Black people have been slighted in this country. You are just adhering to American exceptionalism, right? Like they never want to actually reclaim the American flag because reclaiming involves removing it from its original context. They don't want to remove the American flag from its original context. They just want to be acknowledged for their role in American conquest as a whole. Right? They don't want to be like, okay, America is not the genocide of the indigenous people and the slavery of Black Americans, right? It was built due to our, off of that genocide and off of that slavery, right? But it's ours now. It doesn't belong to white supremacy. It belongs to us, right? They're not saying that. They're saying, yeah, that genocide happened, and yeah, America has done atrocities, but we were a part of that, right? We were there from the beginning, from the jump, off rip, right? So put some respect on our names. We were there for that genocide. Like, why? Right? This is why a call for reparations is more impactful than like trying to reclaim American iconography. Because reparations is saying, listen, we don't care about, being involved with American enterprise. I don't care about that, right? I care about getting what we deserve from building this country. Right? We still stand against the genocide. We stand against slavery. We stand against American imperialism across the country. But you haven't paid us back for using our bodies to fuel this machine. So give us what we owe so we have no ties to you any longer. Right? That's what reparations is saying. Reparations is saying not that we are a part of American enterprise, right? But you've built this enterprise off of the backs of our labor, and we want to get what we deserve because of it. That's what reparations does, right? But Beyonce doesn't care about that because she's a capitalist. America is great for her, right? She doesn't need to make America great again. America is fantastic for her, right? Her capital insulates her from the consequences of white supremacy. And it's not that she doesn't or isn't affected by it. It's that she's insulated by the consequences. Right? And this is a problem, is that a lot of people, I don't say a lot of y'all, but a lot of people did not want to reckon with the fact that Beyonce, right, was a capitalist. And she's not like this revolutionary figure that people want her to be. Right? And this may upset some people, but this goes for Kendrick as well. Right? To a lesser extent. They are projecting onto these celebrities. It's like Malcolm X said, like, why are these celebrities the leaders in our community? Right? Why are these celebrities the spokespeople for our communities? in the white community, they don't look to like their athletes and their actors to be spokespeople for their communities. Why is Beyonce the spokesperson for ours? And this is what it got you. Because you couldn't talk bad about Beyonce. You could not say a single bad word about Beyonce without people jumping down your throat. President's a TV guy, but I hear you. To be fair, but like Trump is not a spokesperson for the white community. Right? To the point where like white people don't necessarily have a spokesperson because they're not seen as a monolith. Right? But we are, as black people, expected to have a leader because we're expected to have somebody answer for the crimes of black people as a whole, or to be a good representative for white people. You know?
Are looking really dumb right now. She released a statement in support of the Buffalo Soldiers, who were black soldiers that were named Buffalo Soldiers after Native Americans who they hunted. She even had the audacity to release a statement calling Native Americans enemies of peace.
Which is like, if you want to try to reclaim the Buffalo Soldiers and you want to try to like wash your hands of the crazy legacy of enabling and supporting genocide, like you could have done that without calling them enemies of peace, insinuating that they were savages. Was that part necessary? Does it serve your purpose? To be fair, I don't think she wrote this, but like, come on, bro.
Order and settlement. Also fighting off Mexican revolutionaries. This is American imperialist and settler colonial propaganda in blackface. Mexican revolutionaries, just as those ICE raids was happening, and the day after we go to war with Iran. I need y'all to be wake the fuck up. I just made a video about how America wants black people to be patriots so they'll fight and die for this country, and this shit just came out. The sad part is a lot of black Americans are gonna eat this shit up and defend her anyways because her stands for—
and honestly, not because they care about American enterprise, right? By and large, they don't. But it's like Kamala Harris. It's team sports. It's black faces in high places. They see a black face as the face of white supremacy, and it's more palatable to them. It doesn't trigger the same red flags that seeing like, the Grand Wizard of the KKK. They'll have smoke for like Bernie Sanders being like, well, Bernie Sanders says a lot of good stuff, but like, does he really mean it? Right? There must be something secret that he's hiding from us to make us that makes him a snake. But then see Kamala Harris being like, yeah, that girl Kamala, she one of us. She one of us.
Beyonce, and they're too tied to black identity that they can't even see that they're working against it. Service of white supremacy. Golly.
And the biggest problem is that people just defend Beyonce. Again, you couldn't say a negative word about Beyonce on the internet without being crucified, essentially. People defend Beyonce. People were like, you leave Beyonce alone. You're only attacking her because she's a black woman. But she will sit here and use her identity to shield herself from or isolate herself from this criticism. Does FBA love idolizing Buffalo Soldier for some reason? Patriotism. FBA are American patriots. They are foundational black Americans, right? The American part is foundational to their blackness. Your thoughts on people calling politicians slurs in mixed company? Depends what you mean by mixed company. Online is always mixed company. So I saw people online defending it, citing slavery by some tribe and chalking that to chronically online things. Yeah, they're probably chronically online things, but like, yeah, you can't. I mean, that's like the same thing as like white supremacists being like, well, black people sold black people, so they deserved it, you know? Like when you find yourself defending the genocide of indigenous people, you're on the wrong side. Let's be real. I always say that tribes enslaved black people, which that's always false. And they say that in service of like white supremacists and white people who very clearly enslaved black people. But yeah, that's kind of some of the Beyonce stuff. I don't want to get too deep into it because I do have to leave. Is Hassan in New York? Chad, did he ever go to New York? Let's check.
Of car chases that take place.
No, he's still in LA. I found the specific their antagonist paragraph from the Sherman Press newspaper in the 80s, and I'm like, it's supposed to be it was the only thing copied out of the entire piece. Why pluck that out and insert it? I don't think she wrote it. Start doing Twitter debates and missing majority report. Oh yeah, I saw that Hassan was and ContraPoints were like going back and forth a little bit.
We were going to have a special guest co-host for the day, but he missed his plane last night from California. Yep. Kids today. Can never get anywhere on time. But
this is why you guys don't get invited places.
Hopefully we will have Hassan Piker on the show next time he's in New York.
This is why you gotta stop inviting Hassan places. Okay? You know what? I'll say it. Cancel me. I'll say it. This is why you have to stop inviting Hassan places. Give me the opportunities. He doesn't deserve them. He doesn't take them seriously. How disrespectful. How many times have Hassan been like, you know, I was going to do this thing, but I just couldn't do it. And look, now it's just the opportunity. This is a way into nothingness. It could have been me, chat. Where's that clip? From, The boys are liars. The boys are liars. Yu-Gi-Oh!
You're not looking at me, boy.
It should have been me, not him. It's not fair.
It's not fair. Hey, Lucky Dragon, thank you for the prime. Much appreciated. Huge W. Oh, here. Okay, before we leave, last thing. It'll be very quick. We're gonna talk about. No, okay. Actually, we won't talk about Mr. Beast because I just stopped caring. I'm gonna tweet that shows where Beyonce may have gotten the Buffalo Soldiers passage. It's fine. I have to go. Maybe we'll talk about it more tomorrow, but those are my takes. Watch my newest video. This one here. It's titled TikTok AI Blackface is worse than you think. Why does it feel like the text got blurry as well? I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, you should watch it. Please, thank you. And yeah, Ideas YouTube chat. Check out a video for tomorrow. I think tomorrow's video might be the Beerio Kart video. And the video after that will be for what we talked about yesterday. I don't remember what it was. What did we talk about yesterday? This was 2 days ago. You're gonna think about a whole content video like Compilation of Black Identity? I will. This is just a taste. You will see a long form video about this from me. Or at least a more scripted video. I need to organize my thoughts. You're not getting a video so quickly about this, chat. It takes me like a month to script. Oh yeah, the draft stuff. Thank you. The draft stuff. We did the Beerio Kart video and about what happened there tomorrow, and then the draft stuff video happening the day after that. Because of the TikTok AI blackface is horrifying. Oh, it exists. It's there, and it's happening. Bye, YouTube chat. Adios. I'm going to